A wonderful welcome to you aboard the AM show for this Friday morning. We can promise it's going to be fantabulous, so stick and stay with us and let's serve you the finest of morning television. But coming up this morning, you know how we do it. The news will come your way shortly, and right after that, guess who joins us for the news review? Ato is the former president of the GJA, and we also have, on the other hand, Kofi Akpaloo, leader, Liberal Party of Ghana. Both of them will be joining us for that segment. And then after that, I'll be sharing with you, right after sports with Muftar Nabila Abdullahi, my blunt thoughts titled, Get This: High Taxes, High Prices, and Talent Flight. Ghana's ticking time bombs. Those are what I'll be sharing with you this morning. You don't want to miss it. But then we get into our big stories. It's all winding down to tomorrow, and the Multimedia Group celebrates heroes touching lives in their various communities under the Joy Impact Makers Awards. Now, 10 nominees, 10 heroes. The question is, who takes the ultimate crown? What's in the bag tomorrow? You have all the details right here on the AM show. It's at the Accra International Conference Center from 7 p.m. You want to stay for that. But today we also have a conversation with the Environmental Protection Agency on all they are doing to keep our environment safe, protected, habitable. We'll be having that conversation today. When was the last time you heard from the EPA? Today, we're bringing them into the studio so you can hear from them and know about goings on. Join us with your thoughts, your comments, your whatever it is that you'd like to share with us, and maybe even ideas about how we could make the show better, because we do this because of you. Ubuntu, remember that. Well, stick and stay with us. The news is up next. Thank you for staying with us for the news. And in our very first story, some cement retailers in Accra have expressed their disagreements with Trade Minister K.T. Hammond over his proposed LI. Now, they have charged the minister to subsidize the materials used in manufacturing cement before introducing such an LI.
As we are talking now, I have received an email that from 1st July they will increase cement. If you ask them, what they are telling is the dollar has gone up, the cost of items have increased. So them too, they have to increase to match the price. So if the government can take some of the costs, at least the price will come down.
Okay, for what he's saying, that's why some of people are saying they are not have to be blamed, because for us, we are buying from the company. So when the company reduce, we will reduce. When the company increase, we have to increase. Because we can't just be there and the company will reduce and we said we can reduce ours too. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. So that's how it goes. So what he has to do is just have to go to the company and just deal with the company before coming to the people that sell, actually. That's what, for me, I think that will help everybody in the country. Yeah. Yeah, I think they have to do that, because when the taxes of where they are coming from, especially the lime and those kind of things, I don't think we do that in this country. So it's from outside, which means when they reduce the taxes for them, they can do reducing for the price of the cement.
However, are divided on the proposed legislation. While some agree with the retailers that the cost of production should be passed on to customers, others say they will support the bill only if it leads to a reduction in the prices of cement.
Actually, I do not agree to that bill.
Why?
Because by him saying that people will go to court and those kind of things, I don't see it as a reasonable idea. Because now the price of things have increased. So they too, they buy things in terms of production and tax. Look at VAT alone, which is almost 15%. So where do you expect them to get their money? That means you want them to collapse their companies, which is impossible. Then they will divert the VAT into their customers. That is why this law cannot function, to my understanding. Yeah, actually this year Christ election year, I was expecting some high subsidies to be on cement and a lot of building materials. Look at Accra we are living. Most people, they don't have houses. Yes. So I was expecting that there should be subsidies on this, not to send people to this thing, called for a jail for 3 years. It does not make sense at all. Yes, I was expecting subsidies in this year.
So, as you see, the price has been going up every day, all the time. And real estate, those who deal in real estate, they are spending money, and it's a lot of money that they are spending all the time. I myself am like, in Kaswa, even because I think the price here compared to Kaswa shouldn't be the same. Because here is Accra, and the Kaswa too is like it's in the central region. Maybe the high cost of living here, that there is high cost of living in Accra than in Kaswa. So all that I would say is, if the bill is going to help us, then I'm okay with it.
Now, barely 24 hours after it emerged that NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia had informed President Akufo-Addo about his decision to pick Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh as his running mate for the 2024 election, an NPP National Council member and Member of Parliament has come out against the decision. MP for Asante Achem North, Andy Appiah-Kubi, says Matthew Opoku-Prempeh is not acceptable to the entirety of the NPP base, particularly members of Parliament. He says the Energy Minister cannot go to many constituencies to campaign.
Well, I wouldn't speak for a majority because, as I told you, we have not been consulted as a caucus for us to state our position. But me, Appiah-Kubi, you can solicit my view on that. If it was for me to choose, I would choose him. Why? He's not my preference. Me.
He's not your preference?
Yes.
Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh is...
Appiah-Kubi is saying that he is not my preference. But that doesn't mean that he is not qualified.
Do you have a preference?
Well, if there was an opportunity like that, I would express a candidate, however acceptable or otherwise, to our presidential candidate.
What candidate
I would want somebody. I would want somebody who will be open with the people on the ground, who will be able to deliver the votes, and who would also submit to the presidency, and who will also be important in bringing Parliament closer to executive. I would probably select somebody who is more acceptable by the generals going to the war, the parliamentarians. We should find somebody who, if the presidential candidate is not there, he will hold the hand of a member of parliament and go and conduct campaign in that member of parliament's constituency. I don't see that happening in this equation.
He doesn't have the quality.
He cannot hold my hand. So why would I say that I prefer him? He cannot hold my hand.
Well, the third accused person in the ongoing ambulance procurement trial, Richard Jakpa, has alleged that the exhibit used by prosecution regarding his release from the Ghana Armed Forces is fraudulent and doctored. Now, prosecution on Thursday confronted the third accused with letters from the Ghana Armed Forces suggesting he was sacked from the Air Force for unprofessional conduct and heavy indebtedness. But addressing journalists after the cross-examination on Thursday, Richard Jakpa said his claim was based on the fact that the wings of the eagles on the coat of arms on the documents were broken.
The release clause contradicts the letter that was written, is purported to have been written by Brigadier General Anyaglo. He was impugning fraudulent conduct, indebtedness to people, without naming the people, without naming the institution. It's just a cooked up story that they've just brought up. And when you even look at the coat of arms of the letter, you can see that it's doctored. Because the coat of arms, the wings of the eagle, is broken.
You didn't point that in the open court.
I wasn't given the opportunity to even delve into the letter, except to just read it so they can go and use it to do their propaganda business on air. If they had been given the opportunity, I would have dissected that letter, shown them how fraudulent that letter is. And they use Brigadier General Anyaglo's signature and his name, and that man is dead. Dead men don't talk.
Well, let's talk processing. A women share processing group in Nordwa in the Kumbungu district in the northern region, Jarisuli, have decried the poor shea harvest this year due to poor rains. They said their lives depended on the shea fruits, adding that this outcome would have negative impacts on their livelihood. The women raised these concerns when the MasterCard Foundation, Global Shea Alliance, and CKB Company Limited handed over a shea processing center to the community.
Shea is one of the valuable resources that benefit thousands of women in northern Ghana. These women either pick the shea to sell or make shea butter for sale and onward export. It's a major source of livelihood for most women and the youth. It is against this backdrop the MasterCard Foundation, Global Shea Alliance, and CKB Company Limited have supported the Nordwa community with a shea processing center for production. Speaking to the media, the Women Commissioner Jarisuli Group Tasala Momoni decried a poor harvest but expressed the group's appreciation for the processing center.
The shea nuts are very helpful to us. Every year we pick the nuts, we process them, and then we sell them to cater for our families and ourselves. But this year, due to the poor rain, the trees aren't able to produce more shares. This will affect our livelihoods because we solely depend on it. And the processing, we have been having issues with processing, but the center will go a long way to help us.
The secretary of the CKB Company Limited, Ebenezer Boachiyadon, said the challenge of exporting the shea butter was due to poor quality. Therefore, they need to partner MasterCard Foundation to provide a processing center to address the challenge.
In order to sustain the shea butter business, we need to add something to what they are doing to improve their operations. Over the years, we have been trying to support them in the collection of their nut, aggregation, and the processing. So with time, we realized that we were having issues with the exports, the product, the quality. We were having issues. So we spoke with Global Share, of which we are a member of Global Share Alliance. And they gave us this window with MasterCard Foundation to support us, help the women to set up this center in order to improve the quality of their butter.
On her part, the country director of MasterCard Foundation, Mine Pabari, said there is a need to protect the environment, which provide jobs for the women.
Leadership's commitment to prioritize and empower rural young women to unlock work opportunities in the shea value chain. As we gather here today, we are reminded of the importance of recognizing the value of our shea pickers and processors who work tirelessly to be at the starting point of the value chain for this valuable resource that benefits this nation.
Well, plastic pollution remains a significant challenge among many for locals in the Greater Accra metropolis and other parts of the country. However, a non-profit agency, Planet Wave, is seeking to solve the challenge with an alternative initiative that will replace single-use plastics. Naomi Suzuki, the spouse of Japan's ambassador to Ghana, who is joining this coalition of environmentalists, says she is hopeful Ghanaians will join the fight in ending the indiscriminate dumping of plastic waste in the environment.
Plastic pollution remains a major challenge for Ghana's sanitation sector. According to the United Nations Environment Programme, plastic pollutants have created a global problem. Approximately 7 billion of the 9.2 billion tons of plastic produced between 1950 and 2017 became plastic waste, ending up in landfills or unregulated dump sites. Given this enormous challenge, a group of eco-conscious citizens say it is time to act. The group, in partnership with other organizations, have initiated receptacles that will seek to retrieve plastic waste from the environment. Awula Sewa is National Coordinator of the Eco-Conscious Citizens.
The idea is to help with plastic waste. I mean, we find plastic bottles everywhere, in your gutters, in your drains, on your pavements, and we don't even want it to go to the landfills because the landfills are getting full. So what we are saying is that separate your rubbish, put all the plastic bottles in this receptacle. So it's as simple as this. You just put the plastic bottle into the receptacle. And we have our lovely students from La Wireless cluster of schools. They've come here this morning. We've done a lot on World Environment Day on the theme, but in addition, we've learned about how to use the receptacle. So this receptacle will be wheeled outside every Wednesday for community members to just put their only plastic bottles into the receptacle.
The group is also introducing school children to the receptacle concept and hoping that the solution to this growing plastic menace will be intergenerational.
My name is Chantel. Today I've learned to do the right things in my community to make sure the environment is clean and healthy. I've learned that it's good to plant trees. It's good to do land restoration.
I've learned that protecting our environment will help our future. And I've also learned that when we don't leave the bottles and plastic bottles on the ground, it will ensure that our environment is clean and healthy for us.
We're particular about what affects our immediate community, which is the littering. You all know that when it rains, Accra gets flooded, and most of the debris are plastic bottles and plastic bags. So we've got this community plastic receptacle where every Wednesday it will be in front of Asantesin Gardens in La, where the local community can put their plastic bags in there.
In the long term, eco-conscious citizens say they expect the government of Ghana to completely ban single-use plastics, just as some countries in East Africa have done.
We want to have a ban on single-use plastics. That is plastics that are used only once. You're going shopping, you take a recyclable bag with you, or a basket, anything, but you don't go and take plastic bags for your oranges, plastic bags for this, plastic bags for that. The country is choked with plastic bags. Our gutters are choked with plastic bags. And in fact, there's an initiative in July. It's No Plastic Bag Month. July is No Plastic Bag Month.
For now, the environmentalist group is hoping that with their receptacles, they will be able to retrieve as much plastic waste as they can from the environment. Teresa Adele's report, read to you.
Now, the 2-week-old strike by teachers of the colleges of education of Ghana continue to affect the academic studies of students. It is also taking a toll on their finances. A visit to the Accra College of Education revealed that some students that live in other regions have left for their homes due to the uncertainty of when lectures would resume and their increased spending since the strike began. While the ones that remain on campus fear the strike will distort their academic calendar if it is not called off soon. Kenneth Jesse interacted with some of them and filed this report.
If you come to the Accra College of Education, this is a familiar sight. Students gathered under trees, mostly in groups, studying because their lecturers are on strike. The strike has persisted for the past 14 days with no end in sight. But these students, some of them, say that the strike is beginning to bite hard, both on their studies and finances.
We are overspending because there is no strike. You'll be at a dormitory, then you wake up, you go and buy food. So the budget that you make, you are going to overspend it because of the level 400. They have minimum September to complete school. But since the teachers are on strike, we don't know whether it is going to affect the academic calendar. When it affects them, it means that those who are renting, they have an agreement with their landlords and landladies that they are going to complete or graduate in September. So they have to incur extra costs. So it's affecting us.
It hasn't been easy for me personally because I'm someone I can't learn on my own. Not really basing on teachers, but I think there are some technical things that
the teachers need to give us before we can really understand some things that we learn. And since they are on strike, it is really affecting me personally and the whole student populace.
I'm in final year student, and this strike is having a very big effect on us, because looking at the academic calendar, we are supposed to complete school somewhere early September, and if this strike is to persist, that means that we are going to face a lot of challenges, because the colleges of education are running a system called the in-out policy, and so when you are in final year, you have to go and rent a hostel outside. You feed yourself together with other expenses. And we are also working on our project work, because we are in our final year, and we need our supervisors, our lecturers, to give us proper guidance on how to go about the whole thing. And so with this CTAC strike, we are facing challenges in working on our project work.
Well, the SRC president of the school has also been speaking to Joy News.
Even the food we take at the cafeteria isn't enough, where we are having a reduction in the quantity of food we serve at the cafeteria to students, where students are forced to go out and even buy food after eating from the cafeteria. And so, and then the other thing is that the strike action will force the authorities to put the academic to maybe October or something, because we are looking within a range of 4 months, and we are on strike for almost 3 weeks now. And so it means that obviously the academic will have to be postponed further, where we will be incurring costs for the semester.
The strike, which was embarked upon by the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana on the 14th of June, is in demand for better working conditions. They have vowed never to return to the classrooms until these demands are met by their employer. From the Accra College of Education, Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
Well, let's settle now for our business updates for today. Thank you for staying. Let's get right into it. And the trading community has welcomed the review of rules concerning advance payments for imports by the Bank of Ghana, but calls for a further revision of documentation requirements. Now, according to the Ghana Union of Traders Association, the stringent demand of documentation has been a major concern of their members, which ought to be looked at. Speaking to Joy Business, President of GUTA, Joseph Obing, said they would be engaging the Bank of Ghana for further engagements on the documentation requirements.
Bank of Ghana is doing what they have to do under the circumstance to encourage a lot more people to transact through the mainstream. But as I'm saying, we have to engage them more, because the documentation requirement, the threshold has been increased, but the documentation, like the bill of lading, IDF, and the cleared documents and all that remains the same. That's the declaration that we do for 90 days and all that are all the same as old. But we've been saying that due to some circumstances, especially with regards to the high duty rates and all that, it makes compliance very difficult for people to actually submit all these documents that they require. And so I think we have to still engage with Bank of Ghana to see how they can revise some of the documentation. It will help them, the Bank of Ghana itself, to know the volume of transaction that we do for forest. Because as it were, we do most of the forest transaction with the black market or the forest bureaus, which does not augur well for government itself.
Let's stay on that front, because the Association of Ghana Industries is calling for the strengthening of policies which protect the small and medium-scale enterprises. Speaking at the launch of the new Ghana Enterprises Agency regulation, the CEO of the AGI, Seth Chum Akwabwa, explained that although government through the GEA had been supportive to the SME sector, there was the need to control the influx of inferior imports to protect local producers from an unhealthy competition base.
It allows policymakers to understand the sector in which they need to support. It allows us to design interventions without randomly coming up with interventions. Because now you know what the sector is, you know what the type of people you're working with is, and you know what type of needs that they might have. What does it also do for policymakers? One of the things we seek to do as Ghana Enterprises Agency is to set up a database, a major database. We do have one, but now we're going to reclassify our database and also expand that database. It allows us to segment the micro, small and medium enterprises, the businesses available. It allows us to then also take these MSMEs and say, what interventions are we giving them? How do we migrate them?
Thank you for staying with us for the news. Joining us shortly for the news review, Roland Daffy-Olmoni is former president of the GJA. We also have joining the conversation from the LPG, founder of the LPG, Kofi Akpaloo. Stick and stay. We'll be right back. Thank you very much for staying with us. It's time now for us to get into the newspapers. Time for the newspaper review. And before I introduce my guest to you, you know how we do it. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment every weekday morning. Courtesy of them, we're able to bring this segment to you, into your homes and onto your gadgets. Now, here's what they are offering you. If you're a man, they are simply saying, come and check your prostate. Or prostate, you know. Do you know? When was the last time you checked your prostate? Or maybe you've lived 35, 40 years, you've never checked anything in respect of your prostate. You could be shocked, you could be surprised, and not a pleasant one. So check out your prostate for free. They'll screen you. If you're a woman, you could have fertility issues, you could have fibroids, you could have developments around your uterus, your womb, among others, and you wouldn't even know until they escalate, right? Some things women are more prone to, depending on your sexual partners and all of that. Things could be going on that you don't know of. By the time you see the symptoms, things are going off already. That's why I'm proffering for you as well that you head to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic and get yourself screened. Doesn't kill, for free, right? So just reach out to them at any of their branches. Let's start with here in Accra. It's Pintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Chronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hansua, and Esiama and Zima. If you'd like to call them, which I proffer, I highly recommend that you do. The numbers are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. And that's how we kickstart the news review. Joining us, I feel like a ring announcer in the blue corner. He's a former president of the Ghana Journalists Association. I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Roland. What nickname will I give you? Roland, the world beater, Daffy-Olmoni.
Thank you, Ben. I'm beatable Ben.
And since it's in boxing, there's the blue corner and the red corner. So I'll have to give the red corner to our very own LPG's finest.
Yes.
You know how a white man pronouncing your name would go like, Kofi, and murder your surname. Kofi Akpaloo, good to have you join the conversation.
Yeah, good to have.
I want to find out, are you taking advice from Bukom Banku? Is that why you are decked in all white today? Because there's white here, white there, your sneakers, Reebok, white. Reebok is famous for white. And then even your hair and your beard is gray. So right now, you are white throughout. Are you an angel?
Oh, because I'm a Votarian.
Ah. What does that? I thought it was red. My people, I thought it was red.
Oh,
that
no.
Was,
We the Votarians from the Anglo land, we believe in holiness.
Oh, okay. So the man.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So white is symbolic of
holiness.
I see.
And a man of the Holy Spirit.
So are you a holy man?
Oh, yes. I'm full of the Holy Spirit.
Are you a holy man?
Yes, yes. Very
holy?
In everything. In all.
Spotless? Because even the Bible says, for all have sinned and fallen short of the...
No, so far as there's something here, it means it can never be spotless.
Okay.
Hey, Dama.
Oh, I'm human being.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, all right. So you are not spotless?
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
Yes.
You are a human being.
But I'm full of the Holy Spirit.
You're full of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, that is understandable. The Bible will also say, even the righteous man sins 7 times in a day. But anyway, let's get into... Before we get into the papers, I had to sift through because some of the papers, I mean, like we were discussing, it's sheer propaganda. So I throw those ones aside, and then I'm being honest, some of the papers.
Yeah, it's true.
So we have what? Only 4. You have 2. He has 1. I have 1. But like we always do, I'd like to find out, is there anything topical that has come up? There's the Attorney General's bit, the Dr. Ato Forson trial. There's Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, who has been given there. And you have a member of parliament on the NPP side saying, this guy, no way. And he's a member of the National Executive Council. There are other stories, human stories. I mean, which story have you followed? What is something that you're passionate about? There's the SAL situation, Santro Kofi, Akpaloo, Likbe, and Lolobi, and how they are going to get to vote in the 2024 elections. The IPAC, the EC is saying, the NDC is doing well and all of that. But to cure some of the mischief that has been happening, that's what it says, maybe the press should be allowed into IPAC meetings and all of that. The National Peace Council, I mean, so many. But what would you like to talk about? Kofi, I'll start with you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Good morning, my brother and former president of the GNJ, a very noble man. I like him from afar, and I'm happy to be on the same set with him this morning.
Well, today you've met him.
So do I qualify to be a running mate?
Why not? it will be a fantastic partnership. Yeah, so I would love to have it.
Okay.
And, in fact, I'm not happy with the way NDC is handling this Ato Forson case.
You're not happy?
Yeah, I'm not happy.
Why?
Because,
the NDC?
NDC.
Okay.
The way they are handling it. I'm not happy because, that gentleman is a perfect gentleman. I like his political style.
The Attorney General?
No, I'm talking about
Dr. Ato Forson.
Dr. Ato Forson.
Ato Forson, okay.
He's a nobleman, a gentleman, and I like him personally. And the way he conducts himself, I mean, I like the way he does things in the public. But the way NDC is handling the issue, I think they need to rethink and see how these things can be done and done properly. Because I don't like that even commentary that they pass after the court session.
But that has become the norm. At a point, the justice of the court had to come out and say they should stop talking so much, both parties. But that has become the norm.
Yeah.
So the Attorney General's group, they would finish, they would talk about it, and you see, I mean, even when the Attorney General was in London just a few days ago, he was talking about this all the way in London, and that you see the case has fallen in water, and Jakpa, and this and that. I mean, that has become the norm. It's a bit sad, but that is where we are now.
You see, if they will stop the commentary to help the case, they can judge you. This, how much is involved? 2.37 million euros.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that it should even come out. People talking about it left and right, condemning each other and all those kind of stuff. I don't think you see, that gentleman, I don't think, I don't want to go to that.
But let's just look at it this way. Some people have been astounded at these developments because questions have been asked. This issue has been going on for how many years now? Is it because it's an electoral year that is coming to the fore? I mean, you see these things happen. The Airbus scandal, when it's an election year, you hear it's come. Once the elections are over, it will die. But the key point is, from the Jakpa and other angles.
Yeah.
In the end, what you want to do for the state, look at the difference between what we did for, what's the gentleman's name? The bank, Ato Forson.
Yeah.
Right? We wanted the money. And so we're giving him, we're giving him the court rule that he should be given time. And when he was unable to do so, then we had to put him in the tin or the can. In this instance, an offer was made to pay north of 2 million euros. It was rejected. The question is, why? That could help some area without roads, without a hospital, put up something. In fact, you could take the money and still prosecute the person. So there are so many, it leaves a lot to be desired, especially with what Mr. Jakpa, is it Richard Jakpa, has also brought up in terms of his engagement with the Attorney General and all of that. For me, it's sordid and it's tainting the system in very negative ways. Because then, now when people start saying, oh, go to court, you ask yourself, they say when a blind man will stone you, says he will stone you, it means his foot is on something. Is that, I'm not saying it is, but is that what is going on? I mean, but anyway. I don't know whether you have any, I just want us to do this quickly so that if you have any thoughts on that, you can share and then share your own very quickly. And then we can
let me add that a critical element of rule of law is confidence in the law. Once the confidence in the law
is eroded,
it's on the wane, then we should check it. It can spell doom. Yeah, so that's something which will, because Jakpa seems to be winning, or if he hasn't already won the battle as far as public opinion is concerned. Let's pray and hope that the law would take its course in a fair manner, which will be acceptable to critical watchers.
Well, having said that, let's quickly look at some of the papers. I'll just be your guide by starting first, so you know how to quickly go through the papers, and then we can have more time to discuss many other aspects. I'll start with the Daily Guide newspaper. Government doubles leap cash. Dakwa Newman pictured there. Communication Ministry trains over 39,000 in digital skills. 2.37 million euro ambulance case. Jakpa admits receiving 700,000 euros. U.S. group supports science, math, and education. Cop shot dead. That story is on page 6. On the back page, when it comes to sports, MOFA screens Eurogroup stages thrills. I'm not talking about the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. No, I'm talking about the Moses 4 Amwening production. Yeah, that's MOFA here. Ronaldo talk inspired Georgia upset, and Georgia hero Kvecha Kvaratskhelia says a pre-match meeting with Cristiano Ronaldo helped inspire belief that his team could cause a historic upset against Portugal and qualify for the round of 16 of Euro 2024 on Wednesday. Georgia went on to win by 2 goals to nothing, the second via a penalty. And, of course, Portugal had already qualified. So this was like a gift, maybe, to them. Let's get the fight on. Joshua dares Fury. I'm talking about Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Both of them having lost to Alexander Usyk. Are you interested in pugilism, boxing? Are you a fan?
I'm addicted to football.
Football?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like boxing?
Not at all.
Not at all?
No. Anything violent.
So if they guaranteed you a purse of about 3 million, let's use 2.37 million euros, and they said, get in the ring with maybe Aite Powers, Basti Samir, or Bukum Banku, you wouldn't dare?
No, I won't. Even to watch it. I won't even dare to watch it. Yeah, because when somebody gives somebody a knock or something like that, I can't even stand.
So you're very peaceful, pacific.
Exactly.
But let me ask you though, it's a point of interest. You're talking like this, but you know boxing is one of Ghana's major sports. It's our passion.
Yeah.
I mean, now it has waned, but if you remember the days of the DK Poisons, the Quartes, and the rest, what would you do if you became president of Ghana You don't like boxing. Does that mean boxing?
Not at all.
What would you do?
I will pump more money into sports because I believe that we need to inject more money in there to develop talent.
Okay.
You understand? So there are a lot of disciplines in sports. So I won't say because I don't like this particular stuff. So no. I'll put money because everywhere it will create jobs and it will create wealth.
Right.
You know, if you invest more money in sports, we are going to create a lot of jobs and a lot of wealth for the country. So it's part of our manifesto to inject more cash into skills development.
Do you think enough is being done in sports, though? Because you look at even the African Games that we organized here.
Yeah.
People in the buckets of, pickups, people using gear that is not suitable and all of that. And look at the millions we claimed we had spent on this enterprise. The University of Ghana Stadium, we say we expended how many millions on that, refurbishing it. What was the state of that place? What is the state of that place now, right? Then you look at recently, whether we honor those who win laurels for us. Our amputee team that traveled, went up north. Twice now, they've won, back to back. And they had to get jerseys from Cantamanto.
So sad.
I mean, not what they used while performing, but if they have to train with jerseys in Cantamanto and their counterparts, and they win, come back, they don't even get to see the president. They kept making calls. They don't get to. But when they go and see the former president, then it becomes, hey, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you feel we are doing enough for our heroes generally, but especially in sports?
We are not doing much for them. We're not doing much for them.
So what would you do?
We will do much for them. We'll help them. You see, sports is business.
I agree.
So when you pump more money in there to grow it, okay, the people will end up getting more money. And then when you have effective tax administration, then it will encourage people to invest.
Right.
So the people will not spend money unnecessarily. Yeah, our tax system is not effective that much. So people don't see why they should invest. Okay, they spend money. Okay. So the sportsmen and women, when they are given that opportunity, they will, whatever they are earning today, they'll be able to invest. Now, looking at the footballers, even for instance, even those who are playing our Premier
League,
yeah, they are not even paying them well because
they are paid a pittance. Even the teams that win the league, how much are they going?
Yeah,
Samatex, how much are they going to?
Yeah, because you see, we are not
50,000.
We are not injecting money to train the case when they are 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. We don't. So we are not producing better players or quality players to that stage. So that is why people don't see why they should leave what they are doing to go to the stadium to watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the teams are not getting money. The sports authority, they are also not getting it. You understand? So it ends up finding money somewhere to give to the players or maybe.
I mean, just to move away from there, the only thing that has worked, for example, is how FIFA created a system, and I hear that door may even close soon because of where, for example, a player, even you look at the Mohamed Kudus and the others, because of teams that helped groom them from Ghana.
Okay. Yeah.
So when that person is bought for a huge amount somewhere, it trickles down and you get some of it. If not for that, I mean, you have Samatex now complaining that they are preparing for the African, club championship, and the road to their stadium is so bad. Yesterday, Muftar Nabila was, and I was saying that they should probably they are calling on government to come and, I don't think that thing will happen. You probably have to negotiate with maybe University of Ghana and start using their pitch for your local matches and then away, even traveling. I mean, it's so bad. You want sports people of the caliber of Anthony Joshua and others, but you don't want to invest. How many of our sports people, recently, was it Ecuador? Like so many of our players, Ecuador's number 9
was wearing Ghana.
is Ghanaian. Look at the Dutch team.
Yeah.
Look at the French team. Look at the
world.
Africans everywhere. And look at Memphis Depay and all of that. There's another one, I don't know whether it's from Paul or something.
And Dia.
Duku is
Gakpo. Yes,
Gakpo as well.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's mind-boggling. And you see, England has built England and Spain, just to end here. They have built all of these. Do you know the benefits Look at the taxes alone they take from these players, earning £200,000 a week or something. Look at the tax component.
Yeah,
look at what they are getting from the players. You earn your money, but they'll get their taxes.
£8 billion a year to the British economy.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's delve further into the papers. So I'll start with that story on page 3. Richard Jakpa, the businessman involved in the 2.37 million defective ambulance trial, yesterday admitted that his company was paid about 700,000 euros out of the amount paid by the government to Big C under the ambulance contract. The accused, while under cross-examination by Attorney General Godfrey Abwadame, admitted receiving 28.7%, although he said he was not sure of the nominal figures. It goes on and on. I'm sure we've followed these stories and all of that. But I'm also concerned, about the entire Ato Forson saga, because there are those who have said, look, there are ways of dealing with letters of credit. And when this letter was written, it was not written ordering money to be released. It was written, directed to the central bank, the Bank of Ghana, and certain actions that had to be taken. But look, in the end, I guess we should leave the court to decide on this matter. But a case like this leaves a very sour taste. When the AG is a cool guy. I like him. I like young people in leadership and all of that. But this is not on, as Gen Zs will say. It is not on. And I don't like the messaging, the mirroring that is coming out. I mean, if a case is there, let it go on. Jakpa now saying, look, when you were telling me to feign illness, I was not sick. It was just at your behest. And I had to take this. Those things, if you have you listened to the tape?
Yeah, I have.
When you listen to the tape, it gets me worried. It does get me wondering, has justice been served in the past? Is justice being served? Will justice be served?
I think this is what prompted the judge to advise the Attorney General to recuse himself.
He's still in court, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still in court. And the Attorney General takes it as an advice and not an order. So, but public opinion has said, we heavily in favor of Jakpa. So let's hope justice will be done at the end.
Anyway, government doubles leap cash. That's a good one for me. Recently, I was with the Ghana Statistical Service. When it comes to multidimensional poverty in Ghana, it is bad, horrible. You sit in Accra and you think, even here in the Greater Accra region, sometimes go to the outskirts a bit, go to Ghana East, Ghana West, Ghana South. Sometimes you are. Is this still Accra? Are we still in Accra?
And here the figure is staggering 7.3 million.
Yes. Of our population, multidimensionally poor, in stark poverty. And when they say multidimensionally, so they are poor on so many levels. It could be that the person doesn't even have an education. Because of that, they're struggling to get work. They are not eating well. They don't have access to some of the basic things. I mean, poverty in such a and it's sad. Look at the resources we sit on. But the government, through the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, has made a significant stride in enhancing social welfare by doubling the cash grants for households benefiting from the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program. This move comes after a previous 100% increment in June 2023. A statement issued by the Sector Minister, Daquan Newman, said households enrolled in the program would now receive double their previous cash grants, thereby significantly increasing financial assistance to these families. Under the previous grants, one-member households were entitled to 64 cedis, two-member households to 76, three-member households to 88, and four and above to 106. Now, the revised grant amounts will now see a one-member household receiving 256 Ghana cedis, two-member households 304 Ghana cedis, three-member households 352 Ghana cedis, and four-member households 424 Ghana cedis. So if you look at even the four-member households, from 106 to 424. That is great. But at the same time, while I intentionally read this story to salute them for the great things, because it will impact lives.
Step forward. Yeah.
But having said that, what is the rate of inflation? What is the cost of living? One tomato, 5 cedis. Yesterday, I was discussing with a friend at night. She was telling me, hey, I know your blunt thoughts today. I'm sure you're going to delve into that. But the cost of living and stuff. And she said to me, one yam is going for 80 cedis. And I said, no. A tuber of yam is between 30 and 50 cedis, at least from what I know. And she said, no, that is the white yam. Afasie.
Oh, I see.
The puna.
Oh.
You are getting it for about 80 Ghana cedis. I was stunned. Yes. So if they want Puna and they're getting a tuber for 80 Ghana cedis, assuming what my friend said, because she goes to market all the time, I don't all the time, 80 Ghana cedis, preparing one meal for, let's say, a family of 4 or 5. What would that mean? So this is great initiative. I always love such interventionary programs, though sometimes they chop along the way. But
deserve to be.
But exactly, and that's why I'm doing that story. But the reality on the ground. I mean, nowadays you can buy food 60 cedis, and you're looking at the food like, is that all? Anyway, I don't know what your reflections are quickly, and then
cost of living,
we can go to other papers.
And that point can hardly be articulated. It's bitingly bitter, and people who have gainful employment are suffering. They cannot make ends meet. Not to talk about school fees, which are also skyrocketing.
They don't talk about it.
The private sector, there's absolutely no control. Proprietors do their own thing. It seems that the blind spot of the education authorities. So whilst we address these issues holistically, there's a need for the authority to also look at what is happening, especially in the private sector. And an average worker who earns about 4,000 cedis, how do you carve enough money to pay for 3 children whose fees range from 5,000 sometimes to 6,000? It's absolutely...
And if you talk of average worker in Ghana, you are talking of someone earning anything between 800 and 1,700 Ghana cedis. That's it. Even those earning 2,000 plus, they are not that... That's the reality. So how will you cope?
That's why Ghanaians have been labeled as magicians.
But you see, it's not magic. If people are so hard-pressed, you see, naturally, if you look at Abraham Maslow's theory of needs and others, the basic needs. So if a human being must feed, must do certain basic things, some may even use community toilets, so they must pay for that and all of that. They will have to find ways and means of making that happen so they can cater for their basic needs, which means that what you're breeding in society is a very corrupt society. People will cut every corner. And another thing I've noticed, because of the temperature of our country, people are so aggressive nowadays. Have you noticed driving or something like, people are on edge. The least thing someone is agitated. I don't know whether you notice.
Recklessness is totally hard.
People are like, their minds are so hot that, what kind of kakra challenge? I've seen people fight over some things in town and I'm like, hey.
You know, our blood cells, the kind of blood in our system also determine the kind of food you should eat.
So you mean your blood type?
Yes. So if you are not eating the right food, especially those with the O positives, there are certain food that when they eat, it gets them agitated.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've heard some of these theories.
Oh, yeah, no, it happens. Yeah.
We need education.
So people, because of poverty, because of people who are struggling to survive, so they go up and eat anything.
Yeah.
So it's boiling inside them. And they need to be, we need to help them to cool down. And I don't know how that one will happen. Because the 400 cedis that you mentioned for a family of 4.
4 plus, 4 and above.
Yes. How can you survive on 400 cedis?
Maybe in the rural areas, where prices of...
they are suffering in the rural areas more than we do.
But to be fair, the leap is not supposed to take care of everything. It's giving you a leap. It's giving you a little push.
I agree. I agree. You see, in Africa here, we have allowed government upon government to go scot-free without taking responsibility.
Okay.
Government is responsible to give us shelter, to give us food, and to clothe us.
Right.
That's the government responsibility. But in Africa, we allow government to do anything anyhow. That is why somebody will come and then he doesn't care how he conduct himself to destroy somebody's business, to get people sacked from, or businesses collapse and people lose their jobs.
I know.
Because we don't pay
That's
unemployment.
Politics, yeah.
Yeah, because we don't pay unemployment benefit.
Yeah.
We don't pay job seekers.
We don't have those social welfare systems.
Yes. So,
yeah, we need to.
So if I'm president today or I'm in charge of something, I wouldn't mind saying anything on air or doing anything to destroy somebody's business. Because the consequences, I don't feel it. You know, looking at the, what do you call that one? The financial sector or whatever.
Clean-up.
Is it a clean-up?
Yeah.
Look at the number of people who lost their jobs. What happens to them? Those people were contributing to Social Security.
Yeah.
They lost their jobs. Yeah. And nobody have thought of how those people will live.
And there are suggestions that it was tainted with
partisanship and all of that.
Vindictiveness.
You see.
But anyway, if we start that conversation, we will not end.
I know, but it's very, very necessary that we talk about those things so that we make people responsible for some of the actions and inactions. Because, you see, it's difficult out there. You are talking about 7 million who are in abject poverty or in various whatever.
7 point something million.
Yeah.
But those who are supposed to be even in the middle class, they are finding difficult.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
life is hellishly difficult.
It's very difficult.
It's very, very tough.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the prices of cement and now the move by, and let's get into your papers, but the move by, you know, the trade minister, bring it down and all of that, but it doesn't work like that. But anyway, let's look at the
subject whatever policy initiative to the logic of reality.
Yeah. Let's quickly. So we have less than 10 minutes left. So
55% of
make the most of it.
Ghanaians aged between 15 and 24.
So that's the New Finder newspaper,
yeah,
right?
New Finder. This New Finder are jobless, and according to the story, sorry for this.
I think that's the one from the latest Human Development Index, the report.
Yeah. That's the latest from that index, and we all know that
which page is this supposed to be on? You can look for it.
Page 9 and page 9. Oh, this is
page 9.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't put the stories on where they say you can find them.
Okay, the story is here.
Okay.
A staggering 65% of young Ghanaians aged between 15 and 24 are struggling with unemployment, according to the 2023 Ghana Human Development Report. Despite a decade of strong economic growth, the informal sector remains dominant, accounting for 75% of the workforce. And the point can hardly be articulated that people in this age brackets,
15 to 24, 65% of
they
them
are preponderant force.
Jobless.
Jobless. And this was either for good or forever. So this touch would, if they should march onto the street, take the law into their own hands, you can imagine the consequences. What happened in Kenya recently?
I shudder to even talk about what happened in Kenya. If you hadn't brought it up, I don't even want to bring it up because, I mean, you can talk about it, but it makes me cringe. You know, I heard Okudzeto Ablakwa talk about, what happened in Kenya, we should, but trust me, it's crazy. It tells you of the frustration of young people. And now you say you want to withdraw the bill, you will not sign the bill into law. After people have died, now you realize you will not sign it into law.
That was
a typical African leader.
It's Ruto filled. That was a mistake of epic proportions on the part of the president. The security agency should have given the red flags. He saw the red flags. And here's a man who rode on the back of cutting taxes. He gets into office and then widening the tax net.
But are we not seeing the same thing here?
This is the dark side of politics, and our good friend, the politician, is here. So the need, but this reinforces the need for politicians. I've been thinking, I've been worried. about the promises galore relative to election 2024. You know, the campaigning is spiced with promises. That is normal. But there's a need for our political class to inject the highest degree of pragmatism into what they promise the people. People like, we know some of them, there's no need to mention names. They represent the comical footnote of our political system, electoral system. Some can even promise extending the sea from Accra to Kumasi. Yes. Because this promises made them relevant. But NDC and MPP leaders, please be very circumspect in what you promise the people. Because the likelihood of your party, of your president coming to power is so high. And so when you come to power, the people will match your promises with your delivery. And when there's a shortfall, they will hold your legs to the fire of accountability.
Exactly.
And as a leader, it will haunt you. So in the name of Christ, we are begging the political... You know, Ghana is not in normal times. Economically, we are still on the ropes, and we've suspended our debt payment.
Yeah.
And in 2 years' time, the debt repayment will exert more financial pressure, economic pressure on us. And this will limit the space for anyone who win the 2024 election to deliver. So please, this is a time for you to square whatever promise you make to the logic of reality.
Right. Yeah. Thank you very much. Would you like to
the
publisher?
Because
and then later we'll take a... Would you like to take a quick swipe at your second?
Yeah, on the 65%.
65%.
I doubt the figure. The figure should be more
15
than
to 24-year-olds, 65%.
It should be about
15 to 24.
Less than 90%.
You think it should be about 90%?
Yeah, because
but this is statistical.
Oh yeah, you see, I don't believe this 65%.
You think it should be about 90%?
90%. I'm telling you, because how many 15-year-olds, 18, 17, 20...
All the way to 24.
24 are working. And they are not working. You understand? So the figure 65 may be just trying to be moderate, you know. Okay.
And then another story which sounds a huge alarm bell is that alcohol consumption among children is sparing mental health crisis. This is serious. And the story says the Mental Health Authority has identified a disturbing trend which indicates that children between the ages of 10 and 14 are increasingly engaging in alcohol consumption, leading to a significant rise in mental health disorders.
Yeah. Well, when you have nothing to do and you are hard-pressed, you see a lot of them veering into betting. You see a lot of them veering into... And now we have institutionalized it, so we are even taxing the betting returns, 10%. I mean, I don't know where our society is heading, but it is what it is.
Unrestrained advertising too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a relationship, that relationship between what you consume mentally and what you consume physically.
Let's quickly get into some stories from you.
I think the Church of Christ, Church of Jesus Christ, renovates schools in Accra. And I think we need to allow them for that gesture. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in collaboration with the Gamancha Foundation, have renovated the Manche Taki Tawia, the first cluster of schools in Adabraka. To me, this is a very long story, so I don't think we can read all of them.
Oh, you can just read a little portion.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think the story speaks for itself.
Yes.
So you can get to another
I think
story.
there was something that those leaders who went there from the church, they mentioned. I was listening to your news yesterday, and they said something. They said that they were asking us to maintain what they've done for them.
Yeah.
Because they've realized that in this country we don't maintain what we have.
Yeah.
You know, so now they've gone to renovate it. It will look plush, but as to how we keep it is a problem.
Yeah.
So I want to applaud the Jesus Christ of Latter-day or whatever, Church of Jesus Christ for their kind gesture, but I want to take this opportunity to inform those who are going to manage it that they should listen to that message the man said, that we should maintain them.
We should maintain them. That actually feeds into what Otumfuo is also saying. Complete stalled hospital projects. I mean, we'll not read it. That's Otumfuo charging the minister. And that's another part of the problem. You start, you stop.
Yeah.
We say Agenda 111.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, we'll see how many we're able to complete.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just waste taxpayers' resources.
Yeah, exactly.
But
because,
anyway.
because when it comes to power, we believe that we need to start our own thing and forget about our predecessors.
No, but that's not continuity.
Policy.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But let's look at your final paper very quickly.
Big stakes and high tension as Biden-Trump debate.
Oh yeah, that was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
I just caught the portion before, but I didn't watch it. Did you catch it?
I didn't watch it.
Okay.
I didn't watch it. I'd come back from Kumasi late.
Yeah. You know, because they are practically neck and neck, it was crucial. People were going to listen to them, and I think I have to read on that this morning and follow the videos and find out how it went.
But we're told that Trump was leading, but only to hear yesterday that they are now neck and neck in terms of opinion polls.
You mean the polls?
The polls, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I listened to some citizens of the states, and they are here and there, but, you know, they can be funny. November will come, and we'll see.
Followed by December.
Followed by December. We'll see how they vote.
Okay.
But before we go, let's just take a look at the Daily Graphic newspaper and what it has this morning for us. National airline plan hits snag. This is something that has been in the offing for a long time. Development impossible without moral values. Apostle Nyamiche says so. There's also operationalized Ashanti Regional Hospital. Asante Hien says so. And debt forgiveness will help restructuring efforts. Mahama to South Korean ambassador. Before we go, we have to go. We're pressed for time. But that call, Apostle Nyamiche, development impossible without moral values. You want to be president, and you probably is running late. Just quickly, 30 seconds each. How do we get there?
Morals?
Moral values.
Yeah, it's very, very necessary. But here...
Do you have them?
Oh, sure, I do.
You do?
Oh, I do.
Because our leaders tend to,
It's just that here we try to worship those who have made money and forget about how they made the money.
Okay.
You see, so now if you go to anywhere and you are able to demonstrate that you have cash, yeah, everybody will accept you. But if you go anywhere and you demonstrate clean, moral, whatever, you say, oh, my friend, we are not...
Those with the cash are the ones who get the front seats.
Exactly. So even if you go to the church, okay, the Church of Pentecost.
No, because
it's from...
You don't go into which...
No, the apostle who mentioned it is from Church of Pentecost.
Okay, all right.
So that's why I'm saying that, relating to that.
Yeah.
If you go there, yeah, they have a lot of businessmen, okay, and they are giving eldership role and all those kind of stuff. And some of them, they are not as we expected them to be, you know. So
that's an interesting point you make. Yeah. Thank you for that. Final thoughts, and then we're going.
It is evident beyond contradiction that the moral center of the Ghanaian is almost gone.
Exactly.
The moral compass, is gone.
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. So there's a need for us, in choosing our leaders, to look at the morality, a sense of morality of our leaders. Because if you vote for people with morally rotten characters, you also pay the price for what that rotten characters do with power.
Okay.
So this is a wake-up call to all Ghanaians. Rhetoric here, people will razzle, dazzle, because all kinds of promises.
Yeah.
But what is the moral quality of the one making the promises? This should guide us as we head towards a crucial election on 7 December.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Roland Afeomoni is former president of the GJA. We also had joining the conversation founder, leader of the LPG. He wants to be president, Kofi Akpaloo. Before I go to Endpoint, the title of my blunt thoughts, which will come your way after sports: high taxes, high prices, and talent flight. Ghana's ticking time bombs. You want to stay for that. But Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment. They are offering you prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Just reach out to them at any of their branches. Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Kronomo Abuehia behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Tichiman Hanswa, and Esiaman Zima. You can reach them on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Prime Take is up next, and our very own Muftau Nabila Abdullahi will be engaging two-time winner of the African Football Championship, none other than Reverend Osei Kofi. Prime Take up next on the AM Show.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you also for coming.
We appreciate.
I also appreciate.
How are you doing? You look good.
By the grace of God, I'm fine.
What is that special thing that keeps you going?
You know, on the 3rd of June,
yes,
I was 84 years, about a week ago.
Yeah.
And now, when you have the fear of God in you, the Bible says the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Yeah. So, I'm a Christian, and through football I became a pastor. So it is the fear of God that is in me, because there are a lot of things I was doing when I was playing football that I have stopped. And it is not because of the Christian that I am in that I have stopped. That is why I am still alive and strong at the age of 84.
What were the things you were doing
in those days?
Yes.
You know, we were not professionals, we were amateurs. So as for women there, I had 20 at that time. I will tell you the truth. Do you know how many?
How many?
Anyway,
how many?
It's not part of your program.
But we're having a conversation.
Yeah, but I have 12 children.
12?
Yeah.
Wow. From how many women?
Why do you want to date me? So in those days, in the 60s and 70s, say I've seen the world.
Was it your talent that got you the women, or how did that happen?
Oh, it was the talent. If I don't even go out, they will come.
Wow.
Yeah, in those days. We were not professionals, so we were not being paid. We were working as workers.
Yeah.
Kotoko, the whole team, we were working with the Farmers Council.
Oh, okay.
Real Republicans. Why they were formed was in a good platform, but later they changed. Because Indian form Republicans, that we have to get the national team standing by any time we have. Because in those days, we were playing foreign teams here. Fortuna Disadov came here.
Real Madrid?
In 1962. And Real Madrid in 1962, when we drew with that, do you know when they came? Before they came, Indian said, boys, I know we can beat Real Madrid, but I am just pleading with you that if you are able to stand that they don't score 10 goals against you, the country will make a party for you. And that put us in fears. The way Ohinijan spoke that if we don't take that, they will beat us more than 10 years. The training that we did, since I was born, I've never seen it before. And lo and behold, we drew 3-3 in 1962 at the Accra Sports Stadium. Recently, some friends from Spain came here, Leganes Football Club, and I took them around. So when we go to the stadium, I told them, you are fortunate to be here today. They said, why? I said, well, this is the stadium whereby the Black Stars of Ghana you see today drew 3-3 with Real Madrid. The whites were 3. Then they look at each other and ask, which Real Madrid? Then I also asked them, how many Real Madrid do we have? How many Real Madrid do we have in the world? I said only one. So then I told them, if I tell you, Gento was here, Puskas was here, Alfredo Di Stefano, you have built up a stadium and named after him, was here. I played against him. Then they said, so you want to tell us that we are talking to a legend? I mean, I didn't say it, you are saying it. Could you believe they didn't believe? When they got back to Spain, they went to the archives of Real Madrid to see that what I said. I even left some. So they wrote a letter to the lawyer who asked me to accompany them. That issue just begged me. But they didn't know they were talking to a real legend in Ghana. I was so proud. I should have been in Spain this year to watch one of the El Clasicos, but it has been postponed to next year.
Hopefully you will do it. How will you describe your early beginnings?
According to my mother, in fact, my mother got to know that I would be a footballer in future. Because when I was going to school from the infancy, I saw these tennis balls, the cans that were in. Then I asked my mother, why this? She said, Kofi, the way you have given us troubles about this. You know, Kofodia, in front of our house, there was a street.
Oh, okay.
So there is a gutter at the end of one end and the other of one end. And it was the tennis ball we were using, which we called the gutter to gutter.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
And I used to supply. And could you believe the gutter to gutter? I went to Venet University for a coaching course in 1969. When I got to the university, they had then started playing this gutter to gutter. They were learning it. So as a student, I started teaching them.
Oh, I see.
In Venet University in Germany. So my mother contributed my football career. Later, I asked her, in our family, who is a footballer? Not knowing my father was a footballer.
Oh, really?
Old Tafo, Roberts Park, where Subribi were using.
Yeah.
It was my father's company, that the group, Roberts, who put up above the stadium.
Oh, okay.
And every player planted a coconut tree. And as we are talking now, where my father planted his, though it's not as the older ones, it's still there. And that is where I attended my elementary school, where I completed, I was informed for when I left Old Tafo. Then I came back to my mother when my father left for Tema in 1957. So 58. But my mother just encouraged me to be a footballer. Whereby when I went to my father in search for a job, I was a mate.
Oh, really?
My father was having a truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which belongs to Mr. B.K. Edusei, a patron of Kotoko. So I'm just giving you a short story about. So there was a Krobo woman who was married to my father, and the way she was treating my father when I was in Agonos.
Yeah.
So Agonos is just like a nursery club for Accra House of Books.
Okay.
And in those days, first and second, we were not having professionals. First and second divisions played National League. So Agonos, we were in the second division. Kotoko House and Olympic, they were in the first division. There was no Premier League started in 1982.
Yeah.
When Kosina Ntechi and Co came. So we were amateurs throughout. And in those days, we were working with companies. As for the football there, it was free. Only some, I remember our winning bonus, 2 cedis. And if we beat a team and on Monday you get to town, the Syrian company groups, those who like Kotoko, So when we were playing, we thought we were playing for the Syrians because the winning bonus was 2 cedis and the Syrian will give you 10 cedis. So which one will you prefer?
I would prefer the 10 cedis.
The 10 cedis. So we thought we were playing for, not knowing they were bettings. They were doing betting. So for me like this, every week, Monday, I put on my dress, then I go to town. Osei, come, yesterday you did. So I was playing for these people, and that is why we were winning every match. But if we win, the way they pamper us, give us money. The club is there was no money at that time.
How did you get to the Argonauts?
58, I completed my elementary school. And something happened in 58, which I still remember. In 1958, when I was about to complete my school, there was a company in Ghana called Aspro.
Aspro?
Yeah, it was a pharmaceutical company.
Oh, okay.
And they hosted the FA Cup.
Okay.
And Kotoko and Haas got to the finals. And my uncle, who because of how I play, he likes his too much, came to my mother. Like my mother should tell me to get prepared because that coming Sunday there was cup final, Aspro Cup final at the Accra Sports Stadium between Kotoko and Haas. He told me on Friday. So Saturday evening by 6, I have taken my bath, I have dressed, sitting on a chair waiting for my uncle for the following morning. So in the evening, my uncle came, I was dressed, I said, where are you going? I said, you said tomorrow we are going to Accra, and you've bathed on Saturday. I said, hey, maybe you leave me, so I'm ready. So on Sunday morning, he came. I boarded the car, we went to Accra Sports Stadium, my first time. I was even have the privilege of sitting on the pitch because the stadium was full and the tracks, that is where our chairs were put on. And Kotoko came all red. Asofo came with this rainbow.
Yeah.
And I was sitting by my uncle, I asked the names of the players. And there was one man, Mr. Kofi Akpaloo.
Yes.
Yeah, who was the editor of Graphic at that time.
He's now the chief of staff for Mansia.
And when he writes after a match, and you buy Graphic on Monday, when even you didn't go to the stadium, when you read the article, it is as if you were at the stadium.
You were talking about how you were a mate to your father and your father's wife was maltreating him and all that. What I want to understand is how did that shape your football?
I'm happy you've gone back to ask this question. You know, though I was a young boy, but the way the woman was treating my father, I didn't like it. She sells this kukunte, and the remaining ones from where she went to sell it, you know, then that is what she used to bring to my father. He said, what is happening? So when from Agonos we couldn't qualify for the first division, then Accra House of Folks came to see my father.
Oh, okay.
Then Olympics also came. So my father asked me to choose one I like. But you know this, the players that the two teams were having, you know, I thought I couldn't stand, so I was worried. Then I decided to choose Accra House of Folks. So Mr. Moody helped me that I should choose us. And I came to Accra House of Folks. Brother, Accra Technical Park, now their offices over there. At the training grounds, brother, in those days, the players that they have, you know, very huge and strong, and I was just like a tiny fly. But if you allow me to get hold of the ball, yeah, you make sure, so they won't come. I say, yes, now I've established. But my first match for Accra House of Oaks at the Accra Sports Stadium, my first league match. I have never gone to camping before a match before. So on Saturday, I was at the house camp at Kolegono, house. In the evening, there's Ovaltine bread and whatnot, special butter, a village boy. By the way, I enjoyed, you know. I said, oh, yes, I'm in a good place. Sunday morning, breakfast came, but we were informed that by 10 to 11, fufu will come. And I said, fufu, okay. So I didn't join the breakfast. I waited for the fufu for 10 to 11. I took 2 balls, meat and what was soup. I was satisfied, forgetting that there
You're
was
going to play football. Did that affect you?
Oh, I am pounding, then you are chopping. By 2, then they knocked my door. We have started dressing up.
Yeah.
And I was sleeping. And I couldn't tell anybody that, you know, I have overate. So I dressed up, we got to the stadium. Do you believe I was able to count how many balls I touched the whole 90 minutes? But the only thing that helped me that day was the Ghana language. I didn't understand.
So the fans abused you?
Yeah. When I decided to let the Ghana, then I got to know that I was
you were abused.
I was abused. But I took a decision. Immediately after the match, I left for Koforidua without telling anybody. So when I got to Koforidua, my mother asked me, say, Ma, I couldn't. So I'm coming to hide small. If anybody comes from Accra, don't tell him I am here. They searched for 10 men everywhere. Unfortunately, Saturday morning when I woke up from bed, I was coming to just peace. When I opened the door, then I saw a taxi in front of our house at Koforidua. Then I heard Amadu Oku say, hey, Yahoo! Ooh! The people are spoiled the I said, what woman did you ever say? Oh, I said, why? And I said, so you don't love me. What I did last Sunday, I couldn't play. So why should you worry me? I have come here to start preparing again. In 2 weeks' time, I will come. And Amadu said something. He said, I said, how can we judge you with only one match? Let's go. It touched my heart, but then I joined them. Even my mother was complaining from the market. I heard her shouting, Unko. Then when my mother said, what are you doing? You want me to go and disgrace myself? When you disgrace myself, let them put it on. Hey. And I said, my mother, you want me to go and disgrace, or you won't disgrace yourself next time. So I had to accompany them to Accra. Do you know my next match was against Real Republicans? I couldn't stand the Olympics. How can I stand Real Republicans? Then I told them that I am too young to be rushing to such a... what you do at the training, go and do the same thing there. Okay. The tea came on Saturday again. I took part. Then the Sunday, the fufu came again.
I will eat.
No. I drank some soup plus 2 meat. You know, and you know this, when you are going to play, you have to weigh whether you have got your real weight. Yeah, I weighed and I had my normal weight against Republicans. Somebody told Ohinijan that there is a small boy in House of Oaks who is very good. Ohinijan told them, well, I've seen him. He's just like a granite that has been fried. When you grow, you put it down, it will germinate.
Okay. So it means that they should come and bully you.
And I will never forget what I did to the national players, Babayara and Co. Immediately after the match, when the last whistle was blown, I saw Coach CK Jampi, the national coach, calling me that I should see him and Ohinijan. When I went there, so I said, the next blaster camp, join them. See, my second match with Accra House of Oaks. So I started on a good note, and I became a friend to Ohinijan. Ohinijan, when he says you are good, I remember when the national team, when we returned from the Olympic Games in Japan, 8 retired.
That was the New Horizon team?
No, the Blasters.
Oh, okay.
Retired from the national assignment. So the New Horizon team, my team, replaced them.
So it was the New Horizon that went to the Olympics, right?
No. But no, some of the... Ohinijan was clever, he and CK. Myself, Frank Odwe, Kwaminti, and Jones Atuku. We were the foundation members of the New Horizon.
Oh, okay.
So these 4 were drafted into the national team after the Olympic Games. We were sent to the Olympic Games to go and see and come and play for Ghana. We were not part of the league, but I was lucky. When we got there, Adakwa fell sick. There was a severe fever. So I was in my room when CK came that Ohinijan is calling me. Then we went to see him. He said, Osei, can't you help us? Then I put a question to them, well, why did you bring me? They said, no, we didn't bring you to come and play, just to watch, so that when we get back, you improve. I said, oh, try me. Our match against Argentina, it was 3-3. Immediately after the match, Ohinijan and CK called me and said, Osei, with your size there, you are deceiving us. But how you played, you are even better than most of the national team players. And Adakwa was the number 7 when he had a fever. Could you believe immediately after the match, Ohinijan told Adakwa, Osei has taken your position.
the young man who was here to observe has taken over your position.
And that is the end of Adakwa at the number 7 position for the Blasters. And that is how I had a position. And in 1962, we were there when Ohinijan called the national player. I was the youngest. I washed in Fums and Aqua's boots and dress. But I was better than most of them. And it helped me because they taught me lessons. The way I was, my height, my everything. So I learned a lot from them. And
how many seasons did you do at House of Oak? How many seasons did you play for House of Oak? How many years?
1 year. 1 complete season, whereby we won the league.
And at what point did you get to Kotoko?
The woman you were asking about her, when we won the league, House of Oaks at the Accra, Kolegono, we were enjoying when my father came, that he wanted to divorce the woman. I said, which woman? I said, my wife. I said, we want to divorce. So what do I do?
Then a big party.
Not knowing, my father was a driver to Mr. B.K. Eduse, who was a life patron to Asante Kotoko.
Oh, okay.
And when my father was discussing this matter, some of the workers heard it. So they told Mr. B.K. Eduse, your driver, his son is Osei Kofi. Why don't you convince him to let Osei go to Kotoko so that you give me the 30 pounds that the court need? So Mr. BK called my father. I said, your son is Osei Kofi. Let him go to Kotoko so that I give you the 30 pounds. So I was at the camp when my father came, and I was so happy. We were amateurs. So that very night, I left for Kumasi without telling us. We were amateurs. No agreement. No.
You didn't need to sign any contract or any negotiation.
No.
So your move to Kotoko was based on the fact that your father needed money to settle court issues.
That is all. I didn't get half a peso. Because we were amateurs in those days. But when in fact, my real team in this country was Great Ashantis, which was formed by CK Jampi. CK was a Kotoko player.
Yeah.
And in one of the Easter holidays, there was a team called Wancheni. They picked some players from Kotoko, and they went to Kwau to play that Wancheni.
Yes.
And Kotoko officials got to know about it. So CK was sacked. And after his sack, he formed Great Ashantis. So I had a jolly time when I went to Kotoko. Hey, and that was what I was just telling. What I suffered in the class of during training grounds, it was worse in Kotoko. Kokutewia, Kofieni, Dogumoro, Gagumoro, Bankusi, Opuku Mensa. I was still the smallish. Kotoko 2, there was a try match between Osim and Pomfi versus Kotoko. And Mfum asked Adakwa to be at the number 8 position so that I think I take over from the number 7 in Kotoko. That was my last try match. I scored 4 goals from the wing. So Adakwa also was removed from the number 7 position.
You kept taking over people's position. You can't take over people's positions.
And I became the number 1 in Kotoko till I left.
There are some interesting stories about your days in Kotoko. But yes, let me have an idea about your first season in Kotoko. How was it like? How would you describe your first season in Kotoko?
You know, Kotoko saw me in Accra when Kotoko versus House of Hooks. They had a goalkeeper called Kwabafo. He's an elderly person. And I scored a goal against him. And he was furious because of my size. The way the people were laughing at him, you know. So I was jubilating when I heard the spectators, hey, when I turned my face, Jack, the blow that this man...
he came to fight you?
Yeah, because I've scored him. Is that how we have to play football in Ghana? So I was being protected by the police. So it was after the match that things were settled. So when I came back, when I came to Kotoko, I met you. I said, why? I said,
I heard stories that in your early days at Kotoko, you struggled to play because you left House of Oak and the place was it Juju or whatever.
But in those days, how I couldn't play for 8 months, I personally didn't know. But the Kotoko officials did something to help me. There was a woman who was a fetish priestess. They took me to her. The name of the priestess' husband was Mfum. So he was a good friend to Mfum of Kotoko.
Oh, okay.
The man stays at Abu Abuja in the Ashanti region. We went there. And when the woman saw me, he said, Then he told our team manager that in a proverbial way that this man plays a certain band. He played a leading trumpet. And he's left the band. And the band leader, the owner of the band, has just crippled him. Then our team manager named the person. And the fetish priestess said, the name that you have mentioned, Osei will play again.
And indeed you played again?
I played again. I was there for about 6 weeks. Hey, I was, brother, there's something in this world, especially in football. How even I became a Christian, it was through football.
So what happened?
After 8 months. No, there was a lot of concoctions and medicines I have to take. Some I was bind with those medicines. There was a medicine which they use in binding my whole waist. If you use cutlass on me, it won't cut. No, so
that you could play football?
So that I will recover to play football. Living House of Hooks. So Charles Taylor, when his came, I went to the father and told him, let him stay for 8 months, he will play again. And at exactly 8 months, he started playing. Charles Taylor.
No, so does this suggest that the stories we often hear about juju in football are real?
So far as there is the existence of Satan, as we Christians know, Christ came to redeem us. But he came, Satan, to destroy us. How can a player train the whole week and tell the spectators that I'm going to disgrace myself at the stadium. A goalkeeper, a ball will be coming, and it will just slip and pass through the legs and go and score. Brother? In fact, there is something. There is something. And
those days there was juju.
Throughout my playing career, I saw something. The woman who helped me to play football again. When we are going to the stadium, you give us an egg. And the team we are going to play with, if you allow us, but we won't show it to you. When we come to the stadium, then we make a round and just put the egg. When you allow us to put the egg down. In fact, throughout my stay in Kotoko, nobody beat us when the egg gets to the ground. And there was one day, Kotoko and Cornerstones. It has been rain small, so the park was slippery. And I was standing with Abukari. And I like Abukari and I love him. I saw somebody coming, and the way he was running towards us, I told Abu that it is because of us. Others were fighting, and he wanted to come and disturb us. Then Abukari said, Osei, stand at my back. Then he removed some belt.
As an amulet or something?
Amulet. And put it in his hand. When the guy came, Abukari just raised it, and the man, as if somebody has booted him, fell down, boom! Abu couldn't speak the Cree language, so he said, and Tokwa one started cry, Aquano Africa. It means we haven't started the fight.
The fight, but he's already on the floor.
He's already on the floor. Then I understood something. That during our days, when we had to play House of Kotoko, we contribute money for Abu to travel to Tamale. When you go to Tamale and come back, we know he has one goal against us. And I will also score. So during our time, the way we were troubling House of Oaks.
I heard you swallowed cowries.
Hey, who told you? And unfortunately, that brought the end of Robert Mensah.
Welcome aboard. You know what I do after sports on a Friday morning? It is called Blunt Thoughts. My name is Benjamin Akakpo, and I say it bluntly. This morning, I've titled my thoughts, High Taxes, High Prices, and Talent Flight. Ghana's ticking time bombs. Tick-tock, tick-tock. High taxes, high prices, and talent flight. Ghana's ticking time bombs. Recently, I went to the airport, and I was shocked to the marrow of my bones, looking at the number of people Japan. And I was like, hey, where do we know if we Ghana? But I guess, well, there's a story in there. Well, let me quickly go to the slides. I have 22 of them this morning, which has been a bit of a trend. I'm going to try and walk through them quickly. I'll start, however, with Ghana's debt restructuring on the external level and where we are, just to give you a fair idea of where we are, before I talk about how taxes, prices are impacting ordinary life and unemployment in between. But it's been 18 months so far. Next slide. 18 months, 1.5 years. And when you look at the restructured debt, I'll look at the cedi value and then the dollar terms. 203 billion Ghana cedis in terms of domestic debt. It sounds like a lot of because it is. Then $5.4 billion in bilateral debt, 13.1 billion in commercial debt. Now, I'm sure if you do the multiplication, this is 18.5 billion. And if you multiply by 16 and the rest, you know what time it is. But let's go to the next slide. Savings made from restructuring, as we're being told. 61 billion Ghana cedis on the domestic debt, 2 billion bilateral debt, and then 4.7 billion as far as the commercial debt is concerned. Now, mind you, this is in Ghana cedis. These terms are in dollars. We're quoting them intentionally. Next slide. So in terms of the Eurobond restructuring, how much has been wiped off? $4.7 billion. Next slide. And then, if you look at the terms of the Eurobond restructuring, cash flow relief till 2026. And we know that from 2026, then we'll start making some of these payments again. $4.4 billion. Next slide. And then the value of loans since December 2022, at least $2.69 billion. Since 2022, December. But I keep asking, though, of all these sums of money, it's not all to mop up, the system and stabilize the city and all of that. 16. Just yesterday, I was somewhere, and I got to realize what value people were using on the market. So, in terms of even these flows, you would ask yourself, yes, it's not necessarily, some of it is cash we got, like IMF money. Some of it now, with the latest debt restructuring on the external front, cash we will save, interest on loans and other things we should have paid that will now be postponed to later. It doesn't mean we will not pay them, we'll pay them. It's not like the HIPIC era where we were forgiven, billions. Yeah, they are chemo. Nah, the world doesn't operate like that anymore. That is why if you don't think and you go broke, you've taken a loan. Don't just say the. And I'm not saying it because it's this administration or any other administration. That's the way it is on the international front. Now, it's billions of dollars. But how has this translated into our economy? Into making the ordinary Kofi, Ama, Ekuya, and all of them a bit more stable. That's where the problem is. Next slide. And it shows in the latest Ghana Human Development Report. Is this trickling down? That's the question. That's why I intentionally started from our debt restructuring. We've done the local, we've done the external, but how is this impacting life? Are things getting any better? Just in the news review this morning, I was reading out to you how the latest Ghana Human Development Report was pointing to the fact that 15 to 24-year-olds in that age bracket, right? 9-year age bracket, 15 to 24. And this is a very productive sector. If you go to other countries, 15 to 24-year-olds, depending on the labor laws and everything, are working. They are a crucial force in pushing the economies of these countries. Go to Vietnam. Go to Thailand. Go to even the US. People are 15-year-olds and the rest are those you would find in the McDonald's and the Burger Kings and other places. Yes, they are working. They do part-time and they substitute. Here in Ghana, even per the report, and Kofi Akpaloo joined me this morning, he said he even thought that report should be saying 90+%. But per the report, 65% of those in that catchment area are jobless. They are struggling to find jobs. Do you know what that means? For a country in a continent where it is projected that by 2050, way over 50% of the population will be young people, youth, in that same age bracket. It's scary. It's crazy. And we are not taking care of them. God forbid that what happened in Kenya happens here. God forbid. But you see, it's a ticking time bomb. The people are tired there. Look at the taxes on stuff today. You go and buy something, and the number of taxes on them, you look at the bill, you look at the tax component, you're like, Yesu. That reflects in this, right? 50%. I was shocked. And I have friends who are medical doctors who are in the UK, US, Australia, Canada. But I didn't think it was that bad. 50% of doctors and 24% of nurses trained in the country are working abroad. Yeah, we took them through the training and everything. Now, there's an increasing level of unemployment with the situation being worse for females. That makes it even more staggering. We need women in the system. Women, they do magic in our system. We have a lot more of them going. And a lot of these experts, especially when it comes to nursing, are female. So guess what that's doing to us? Next slide. So if you look at the trajectory, in 1984, in terms of the increasing unemployment, in 1984, even when we were talking about the Rawlings chain and all of those, yeah, bad times. Some of us were alive around that era, so yeah, at least. 4%. 2017, 8.4%. That is not terrible for 84 to 2017. Even if we make it 90, that is 2000, 2010, 27, that's about 30 years thereabouts. An increment of about 4+%. Look at where we are now, just a few years later, 4 years later, 13.4%. And this is even a conservative figure. Conservative. Even the statisticians will tell you. Next slide. Now, if you look at the male and female unemployment rates in 2021, we're looking at a male ratio of 11.5%, females 15.7%. That's a difference of over 4.2, just about 4.2%. That's staggering. You see it as small. It's huge. And it has impact on our society. And even when it comes to the effect of it, the remittances there, but that one to them, they lie. Where that money they go, only God knows. Next slide. And if you look at the issues of concern, why are they going? Infrastructure, 15.6%, according to the HDR. Education, 17.4%. Corruption, 22.2%. Jobs, 44.9%. You have almost 45% of them telling you, and it's true. I have a niece who is in nursing training. She top student, won awards and all of that. What's the future for her here, realistically? How much is she going to earn again? How long will it take her to start anything in life? If she wants to get married and all of that, how much? You know, I'm not saying, but can we make things better for them? Can we try at all? Anybody listening? And you go around and cement prices, so what I would do is cement, you know. Limestone, then I say for no money, what now got mom. We'll get to the cement bit. Next slide. Shall we go to the next slide, please? All right. And then if you look at average cement prices, yeah, I just started talking about it. I mean, everyone knows it's high. We don't want it to go higher. But if I were producing cement using all these resources, and you look at the prices of all these things, limestone and the rest on the market, and you tell me, oh, cut down your prices or peg it at, are you serious? And these people go calling young people with beard coconut heads. Who is the coconut head here? Seriously. I mean, I'm being respectful anyway. He likes throwing jabs around. But you can't tell me if my production cost is 10 cedis and marketing it, I spend another 2 cedis. You want me to sell it for 12 cedis? Who does business not to profit? Unless it's a non-profit organization. And if I'm selling it maybe for 14 cedis, you tell me, oh, if your money, I take producer. In May, the trend, 2012 to 2024, May 2012, we're purchasing cement at 14 cedis. 1-4. 10 cedis, 40 pesos. Yeah? October 2014, 31 cedis. March 2022, 55. August, 59. September, 71. October, 81. November 2023, 80 cedis. May 2024, 82 cedis. In fact, in some places now, that's not a very current figure. In some places now, it's selling for north of 100 cedis. Some places, I can guarantee you, some places, 90-something, close to 100. How will you build? Next slide. Now, if you look at the impact of increasing prices, so it increases cost of building or hiring, also increases. Your landlord, landlady, some of them are just hiking ridiculously, but yeah, and not that they are buying anything, but they'll tell you, iron rods, cement, And then that means a reduced demand for housing. You know what that also creates, right? When it comes to multidimensional poverty. And then an increased housing deficit. Now, let's go to the next slide because we'll take a look at the housing deficit. 2010, 2.8 million. We've done a lot. We've shaved off about 1 million, though that technically has issues we can get into, but not today. We don't have the time. But if in 2021, we had 1.8 million, and now we see those who have fallen into multidimensional poverty and all of that. Today, I want to believe the figure is higher than this, unfortunately, especially with the politics we play with housing in this country. Affordable housing that is not affordable in the first place. And then, oh, this administration did it, so I will not. NDC has done it, NPP is doing it. Makes no sense. But, well, we vote for them, don't we? And coming election, and you see people thronging. NDC, MPP, NDC, MPP. Some of them are not even thinking. You are the nation's problems, people like that. You are the problem of this country. Next slide. Now, concerns from cement manufacturers, the depreciation of the cedi has increased production costs, tariffs, levies, and taxes imposed by other authorities, such as the Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority, are in dollars. That's another thing. They are saying that, and yes, it is imposed, dollars, greenbacks, come and pay, or you pay the cedi equivalent. Wow, beba. Wow, beba. Remember. Next slide. And then you look at the cedi to dollar exchange rate and you get the picture. 2010, 1.47. 1 cedi, 47 pesos. You go to 2022, 6. 2024, current value, 15.3. Actually, when I checked yesterday, it was higher than this figure. Higher than this figure. 15.6 something. If some of the Forex Bureau, and that's even the Forex Bureau, not the street, if they were selling to you, you wouldn't get it for anything less than 15.7. And if they were buying it from you, you'd be lucky to get 15.5 something or 15.6. Lucky. Next slide. Now, I want us to look at taxes, and then we'll segue into the Kenyan situation. Now, government will review the excise rate on beer and expand the environmental excise duty to cover plastic packaging and industrial and vehicle emissions. It's a look at the 2024 budget. Excise rate on beer and expanding the environmental excise duty to cover plastic packaging and industrial and vehicle emissions. We like putting in things about environment and all that. Are we even conscious of it? Green gun and this and that. Yes, Galamsey. So 1 step forward, 10 steps backwards. Next slide. It's supposed to be a means of reducing plastic environmental pollution. That's the rationale of the tax. Next slide. And the Plastic Manufacturers Association are now threatening a shutdown. Why? They are saying they are giving 7 days. If you don't react, Charlie, we lay down our tools. We aren't producing anything. In response to the 5% tax on plastic packaging. This plastic situation is, today, one of our cameramen was watching as we were, having the news review, and he reminded me of something. In other countries' jurisdictions, they have something that they add to some plastic products, not all of them, so that they can degrade quickly. Within 6 months or a few months, they can decompose. You know how long it takes some plastic? They can be there for a century or more. Are these things we can look at? I heard the eco-conscious group in the news today talking about, Awula Sewa, a good friend of mine, among others, talking about that culture of reusing plastic and maybe going to the market with a basket or even the mall with paper bags and stuff. These are things that are done consciously. If you leave the population, they will not adhere to it. But can we tax? Better still, can we put certain measures in place and encourage, incentivize people not to use plastic? There are times I go to certain places, Mato bottled water, they want to give me, I say no. It's fine. I'll hold it. And so everything you buy, then you pile up all this plastic, go and dump it. So we have a role to play. But that 5% they are resisting. Next slide. And what is that culminating in? Next slide. Now, 30,000 workers are to be affected by this shutdown if they go ahead. Next slide. And then the tax imposition leading to increased cost of producing plastic products, because guess what? They will hand over the cost to you. Yeah, so Oje said they will not take the cost. Just like the cement producers. If they tax me, I will transfer that to you, the end user. It means it's coming to you directly. So what you are buying for 10 cedis now, maybe get ready, 12 cedis or 13 cedis. That's what it means. And consumers are going to pay more for products. Next slide. Now, not just that, how does that feed into, I've been really sad. Kenya is a country I love. And I have a friend who was speaking to a Kenyan recently, and they were saying, Kenyans love their country. They don't play. How long ago was it that they brought in William Ruto? You think all of those there are supporters of Raila Odinga? No. The Gen Zs, they don't play that kind of game. You don't play with our livelihoods. And they are showing it. Sad what has happened with the deaths, but some things you don't get by sitting down on your rear, on your behind, and thinking it will happen. I always say if there were 50 people like me in Ghana, I think this country would be better. Because a lot of you watching, you know the right things, but unfortunately, you are cowards. I said it. You are cowards. So you can't speak up. And some of you are enjoying. Your mouth is full, so you can't talk. And some people who were vicious critics, old people, elderly people, women, men, now they are, because more food, belly full. But keep on like that. The young people, I always say, that quote says, a day may come where the poor will have nothing else to eat but the rich. So don't be content. Hopefully that day doesn't come. A bill was proposed to raise taxes to meet IMF demands. Protesters breached Kenya's parliament and set parts of it on fire. I don't support that, but it's the angst of the people. The military was deployed to help contain protesters. And this thing about always deploying the military, we know what happens. Kenya's president backs down from the planned tax hikes. You knew you could back down. You waited till over 20 people and counting died. And then protesters plan to continue with this demonstrations despite the government's reversal. This is what happens when leaders, misleaders, fail to listen. I'm talking to some people and they're watching me right now and it's hitting them. And that's the whole idea. Next slide, as we get ready to wrap. And this is my final slide. If you look at the casualties in Kenya, so sad. 23 deaths and counting, 160 people injured. Let's observe a few seconds of silence for our brothers and sisters in Kenya. It's so sad, Ghana for. But it is where our continent is. Leaders who don't care, who pretend they do, they wax lyrical. It's election time again. They are coming, knocking on your door. They are pounding fufu with you. Don't be deceived. Shine your eye. Then they lie. A lot of them. Careful before you do something that will cost not just you, but generations to come. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. You know me, I don't care. And I don't fear who, because who won't pay. Okay. Thank you for watching. And God bless Ghana and make her great and strong.
Plastic pollution has become a menace in Ghana. According to the United Nations Environment Programme, the challenge is not unique to the country as it is considered a global problem. As stakeholders continue to explore sustainable solutions, non-profit organization Planet Waves Ghana says finding alternatives to single-use plastic might just be the solution. A leading member of the group, Naomi Suzuki, who is also spouse to Japanese ambassador to Ghana, says judging from her last visit to the country, the situation still persists.
I do see a worsening of the environment here in Ghana, having, been here once before. I'm able to compare the situation, and I see a lot of development taking place in Ghana, as well as the pollution getting worse.
The alternatives to single-use plastics for Naomi and members of the Planet Waves Ghana is the use of these sustainable bags made from environmentally friendly materials.
I do see a big problem when I go and shop at supermarkets and vendors in the street. We get free polythene bags, which are very thin and very bad quality, and you use them only single time, and then afterwards you just throw them away. So we want to reduce this, and we are offering an alternative way. So we encourage people to carry their own bags made out of cloth. We can also go for baskets, But we create very beautiful upcycled cloth bags out of flour sacks, out of old garments. You know, later I can show you what we do.
An associated problem with these non-decomposing single-use plastics is the small pools of water created in plastic litter that are ideal breeding grounds for mosquitoes, which in turn cause malaria. Concerned about the fact that innocent children may have suffered remote impacts of plastic pollution, Naomi availed her skills as a pianist to supporting charity events of Infanta Malaria, another non-profit foundation dedicated to malaria prevention and other good causes.
So I spend a lot of time practicing my piano, and I perform concerts. And here in Ghana, I do mostly fundraising concerts. I use music as a peaceful tool to help the needy. And so in this way, my love for music can be useful for others. And I feel very dearly about my host country, Ghana. Therefore, I've done several fundraising concerts.
Well, plastics and malaria may seem as two distinct topics, but we do know, and the experts tell us, that plastic waste could lead to the breeding of mosquitoes, which in turn cause malaria. So it appears that you're solving two problems at the same time, isn't it?
Exactly. But Infanta is also very busy trying to do their bits. And our NGO, is also fully engaged in so many different activities. Everything can be recycled and can become resources instead of waste.
For Naomi, every note strikes a chord with her inner belief that the environment needs to be protected from the effects of single-use plastics, and also the need for Ghanaians to embrace sustainable bags as a solution to this plastic menace.
So I want all the Ghanaians to take care of your motherland, because it just happens that I am a Japanese and I'm only here for a certain period of time. And if I feel so passionate about your mother country, motherland, then why not you, your Ghanaians, you have to protect, please, your motherland. Don't litter, and please be conscious about your actions.
Amazing. But who's the composer of this song? Blessed Sugan's report for Joy News, Accra.
There you have it. So we're talking about managing plastic waste, the spouse of the Japanese ambassador on that drive in recent times. We're trying, but it's becoming a huge problem. And then you have the other end of the situation where 5% more taxes are to be slapped on plastic products. And some of them are up in arms, because you know what this will mean. It's going to translate into the cost you pay when you go out and purchase plastic. Well, joining us for a conversation on this, we have Venan Sondo. He is project director for NetCycle. Also joining the conversation, we have Desmond Alugnoa, director for Zero Waste Green Africa Youth Organization. Desmond, if I got your name slightly wrong, please feel free to correct me. And then we have our very own, my big sister, with eco-conscious citizens. Awula Sewa, she is the coordinator for that group. All of them join us this morning on this conversation. Lady, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Desmond, did I get your other name right? Alugnoa.
Yes, you got it perfectly right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I will start with Awula. I've not heard your voice. Awula Sewa, are you with us?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
It's really good to have you join the conversation. But let me start.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Let me start with Venan Sondo. Just tell us a little bit. I want each one of you to tell me just briefly, 30 seconds. What does your group do? Net Cycle, Venan Sondo, what does your group do? Tell me about it. 30 seconds.
So we work with fishing communities and aggregate the monofilament nylon fish nets, which we aggregate for recycling and upcycling into other useful material.
All right, thank you very much. Desmond, what does your group, Zero Waste Green Africa Youth Organization, what do you do?
Yes, thank you so much. We work with cities and municipalities to support them implement zero waste management models that are environmentally sound. So in Accra, we actually working with a number of municipalities, helping them to transition into sound waste management models.
All right. And for you, Awula Sewa, eco-conscious citizens, what do you do?
We campaign and advocate for a clean, green, healthy, and serene environment.
And I've seen you campaigning in recent times. You've been speaking with students to manage their plastic. I remember seeing you in front of Parliament. I don't know, I think this was last year.
Yes, it was last year. We're picketing regarding LI 2462 and EI 144. These are terrible pieces of legislation that do a disservice to the environment.
Yeah, and that day I couldn't help it. I saw them, I stopped, I parked my car, went and saluted them before I moved on. These are senior citizens taking on the bit about plastic menace. But Venan, how do you see the management of plastic waste in Ghana currently? If I asked you, are we making progress? Look at 10 years, 5 years. Are we getting it right, or are we just sitting on a ticking time bomb? What will you say, Venan Sondo?
Well, it would depend on where you sit, because someone who is not involved in anything and just seeing the mess around will feel like there's nothing going on. But someone like me and Desmond and even Sewa, who actually are involved in the thick of shaping policy in the country with respect to tackling plastic waste, you can see there is a lot of initiatives, kind of policy instruments in the background that are being formed, especially, of course, Ghana is part of the the Global Plastic Alliance, Global Plastic Action Partnership, which is literally gearing towards making Ghana zero plastic by 2040. We have been in a series of engagements across consulting and developing plans and strategies, which include providing finance, educating, making sure that the informal waste collectors are integrated, and also sort of developing alternatives to plastics. And of course, there's also the recently launched initiative from the Ghana Standard Authority, which is actually encouraging or developing a standard for plastic recycling in Ghana for rPET, which means that eventually plastic bottles produced in Ghana can be collected and reproduced and recycled into new plastics, which means that there will be a reduction in the new plastics that are introduced into the environment. These are all things that are happening that will take time. There is also the extended polluter responsibility, which is also being put in place. I think the framework has been developed. When it's going to launch, I don't know, but these all happen. But then, the problem is not just on the government side, it's on the citizen side with our behavior. How we behave, how we dispose of our waste, how we repeatedly refuse to actually consider alternatives, because every citizen can actually say, I will refuse a plastic straw, I will refuse a plastic paper bag. That goes towards actually kind of helping towards the situation. But we deliberately refuse to do that. And of course, the problem is still a huge menace to the environment. But it doesn't mean that a lot is not being done. A lot is being done, but the sheer amount of waste we have out there, it will take a long time before we get to the bottom of making sure that we can reduce it drastically.
Did you say that we need policy, plastic policy? Is that what you said?
Yeah, of course, there is policy, but then we still need more policy. I think some of the policy instruments are not exactly working with respect to making sure that those who are polluting pay their fair share.
Right.
So paying, but then there's a sheer amount of other people who are not paying anything. They just kind of go through the cracks, right? And so those who are paying, whatever is being paid is actually is not enough to address the problem. Because if you go into every corner of the country, go behind, you have people producing juice, people producing all sorts of plastic material. Nobody is actually taxing them for anything. But these are plastics that are being produced, the millions and millions of tons of them actually being consumed every day. But no one is taxing them.
All right. I will say, now you've heard him, Benan Sondo, say that we have policy, but we need more stringent policy. We need better policy, so to speak. From where you sit, will you say we have the adequate measures to deal with plastic waste, or is it that we're very far away from the target? How close are we? I will say.
I mean, from where I sit, we need to understand that we face a clear danger. Plastics have entered the food chain. The fishes are ingesting it. The cattle are ingesting it. So what we need to do immediately, because of the tons and tons of plastic waste we have, we need to have a ban on plastic, on single-use plastic.
Okay.
And it's organizations like GEM, Ghana Youth Empowerment Group, have been advocating for this. If you were to do this, it will not solve the problem straight away, but it will stop us from having more destructive plastic into the system. What else are we waiting for? Much of East Africa has banned single-use plastic. Parts of Asia have banned it. So for me, that is the way forward. Why put a tax for somebody to produce something you know has destructive consequences? I don't quite understand that. For example, July is no plastic bag month. So we encourage everybody to take recyclable bags with you. But why are we even producing them or allowing them to come into the country?
Okay, those are very pertinent, potent questions you're asking. Is that to say then that you are in support of the 5% tax that is being proposed on plastic products? And this is general. Now the question then would be, how does that impact those in the plastic sector, looking at the swathe of taxes we already have? Those in the industry are saying, we will not take it. About 30,000 jobs could be affected or will be affected. And in addition to that, we'll pass on the tax to the end user. Is that the way to go?
Well, I have said that I believe in the ban of single-use plastic. Not necessarily a tax, but a ban. And then we should set some money aside for research using a lot of waste products. For example, I know that coconut waste, people use it to make charcoal. Empty flower bags, you can make recyclable bags. So we should pump some money into not just community mining, but into mining our brains to find alternatives to plastic use. And it's destructive. These days, even the Banku and the Kente, we're using plastic. It should not happen. It should not happen at all. So taxing is not, to me, the solution. The solution is to remove from our system what we know is destructive.
Taxing is not the solution. But Desmond, what then are the other solutions? I mean, in other jurisdictions, recently I read a CNN report where they were talking about plastic found in male sexual organs, the penis. They could find plastic in there, microplastic. You know what that does to your body? It means it's in your vessels. Eventually, this gets into your cardiac system, your heart, and all of that. You're in trouble. You're in big trouble. This is going to lead to heart attacks, blood pressure issues, and God knows what else. Other jurisdictions use degradable plastic, so that within some months, 6 months to a year, the plastic itself, they add components and then they degrade. Is that what we should be looking at? What are the other solutions?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that, well, before I even go to the degradable plastics and all that, I think that the claims of laying down over 30,000 and what have you are not accurate in terms of in comparative terms, looking at the life cycle of plastics as a material and the damage that it brings in economically, health-wise, socially, and culturally. My organization at the moment in Ghana alone, we're housing about 7 businesses. All of these 7 businesses are operating within the plastic and waste management value chain. We diverted, as at May this year alone, we diverted over 5,000 tons of plastics into recycling. We diverting also, of course, organic waste into composting and what have you. And I'm not thinking that they are going to go out of business because of this. We have historical plastics for that matter. I think what we should be looking at is this tax going to, is it looking at the whole thing of environmental implications, health implications? Does it look at the long-term goal of actually creating alternative businesses and ensuring that government spending on waste management is reduced as a result of that? If that's not the case, then I'm not sure that that is even anything to go by. As I'm speaking to you right now, I'm in Tanzania. It's still the same thing, discussing with different groups, running workshops on how to strategically promote enforcement of the policies on banning of single-use plastics. You, of course, utilizing the opportunities of lessons from Kenya and Rwanda. What are the alternatives that we probably have? I'm not thinking that having degradable plastics, for me, I call those ones false solutions because they promise way too much than they can actually deliver. But I would like to go with what Madam is saying. There has been life without plastics. There was life before plastics. Exactly. And so we can actually live without this. So we don't need to have replacement of the plastic. We need to actually engineer the economy in such a way that there are environmentally sound alternatives that are creating jobs, that are creating new business streams, and that are able to reduce government spending on some of these things. Beyond that also, what I would say is that the local alternatives that we already are having. So if my organization alone is diverting such huge amount of waste from landfills, and we have integrated over 6,000 waste pickers, informal waste workers, when we came into existence since 2021 in the city of Accra. What are the policies that are promoting other groups that want to do similar and can even have the capacity to do way more? Because those ones that we've integrated, we certify them, we even enroll them into health insurance and what have you. So you now see a lot of Bola Taxi Association and Tricycle Association who transport municipal solid waste without being harassed by police or whatever. Assuming that there is a proper landfill for those people to take it there, we would limit the amount of flooding that we are having, right? And then we also have a lot of the informal waste pickers who directly salvage and reclaim some of the recyclables and send it to the facilities for recycling. The question is the problematic plastics, the ones that are really detrimental, the one that Madam probably classified as the single-use ones. What is happening to those ones? Who is taking care of the residual waste? Because that is the bigger chunk. We are importing and manufacturing plastic that we do not have local capacity to recycle. And all that is classified maybe by the producers as a revenue stream that is sustaining the 30,000 plus workers that they are talking about. And that's why I'm saying that building our economy based on a faulty foundation, which is the kind of plastics we are producing, is already bad in the first place. And so that shouldn't be the argument. The argument should be, on what basis are we placing this particular 5% tax? Are we doing it to just raise revenue, or we are actually having a long-term goal to phase out plastics entirely?
Desmond, I have a quick question for you before I go back to Vanan. Which are the worst forms? Yes, single-use plastic, but beyond that, which are the other forms we should really be tackling? I mean, I see people, for example, like Awula Sewa said, they buy banku and they purchase banku and it's in that plastic thing. Already heat, it's absorbing, it's leaching. Some people will even use that or polystyrene products and then heat in a microwave. there are also the health effects. So which broad swathes should we be looking at? Or is it just a focus on single-use plastics for now?
I mean, right now, you can even, apart from the food stuff that you are talking about, you see that the beverages also now prefer to actually put it in sachet, right?
Yeah.
And then you throw it away. Now, some of them, the transportation process alone exposes it to so much heat that the emissions that are being released into the drink that you are taking, whether it's water or it's alcoholic beverage, also goes into your system. And if you're talking of being found in the bloodstream and the complications that come with that plasticized food chain, we are going to have increasing number of diseases and sicknesses that we never really had in our part of the world now being reported, and even increasing expenditure or placing more burden on our health budget.
Right.
The other ones that it came first because of the easier in packaging and transporting over long distance. So you're looking at the HDPs, the high density ones, polymers that are being used. Right now, they've diverted all the way because that doesn't really produce a lot of profit. So now they are looking at the Bangkok rubber, looking at the polystyrene, the black polythene that you need 5 of them to carry 1 mango. Those are the very problematic ones. And those are also the ones that are not equipped to actually resist temperature changes. And that is also the...
Let me bring in Vanan Sondo. So you have traveled widely, especially dealing with plastic and talking in different places about it. What should we be doing in keeping with best practices in terms of the management of plastic, from where you sit, Vanan Sondo?
I think the encouragement of alternatives is very critical. First of all, as Desmond and Mama Sewa says, I think we should actually increasingly start saying no. Because there used to be a time when, believe you me, we didn't use single-use plastics. But then the culture has changed, and it's kind of really a hit now to use plastic. So if we have sustainable choices, part of the remit of my organization is actually unlocking access to sustainable choices. Because we believe that because people don't have the right choices, that is why they get to behave in a particular way. But if you give them the right choices, if you give them recycling facilities, if you put the recycling facilities closer to where they live, if you made it possible that people can recycle easily, all those alternatives...
But Vanan, you know, there are times where we must look at ourselves and blame ourselves. I mean, there are some roads, major roads in Accra, they put bins there. Do you know what some people did? One, some of them will pick... Some of them will take their rubbish from home, bring it, and come and put it there. How does that make any sense? Others would also come and actually take the bins under the cover of night and go and take it to their houses. So when you have people like that, I mean, sometimes you will try, but how would that amount to anything?
You see, I'm actually joining a call this afternoon with the National Plastic Action Partnership, which is releasing a report that was done basically trying to look at how can you undertake a citizen campaign to sort of educate people about plastics. And so the report was done, and I'm joining that call today with Kwame and the likes from NPAP to discuss the outcome of the report. Because we need a lot of education. And I'm hoping that Joy TV can also use the opportunity to sort of like give time to those sort of solutions that talk about educating people about how they can actually choose the right solutions, bring on board those people who are developing solutions to sort of talk about their solutions so that people can actually adopt and embrace the solutions. Because the solutions are critical to making sure that people can make the right choices.
Right. Awula Sewa, I'll come to you now. Do you have any reactions on those? And then I'll take your final thoughts, each one of you. But I'll start with you, Awula Sewa.
Well, first of all, I'll say that I'm happy that we agreed that there was life before plastic. Now we need to go back to the life without plastic, especially single-use plastic. The plastics are already in our bloodstream. It's causing a health emergency. What on earth are we waiting for? And let me be very clear. When you talk about enforcement, it's what is crucial. Education and enforcement go together. People will not change their behavior unless there is enforcement. You go to countries like Denmark, You have to recycle. You have to make sure your rubbish is neat, or they don't collect it. So since you don't want your house to be full of rubbish, you have to make sure your rubbish is neat, plastics in one container, cardboard in another, metal in another. So what I'm saying is that education is fantastic, but enforcement is the best form of education, where people know that if you don't do what you should do, there are consequences. And I would say that it's a very urgent situation we face. There are billions of tons of plastics lying out there. So we need to ban single-use plastic. And we need to understand that funding should be put into research to help us use our various waste in the country, whether cassava waste, plantain waste, coconut waste, to recycle it or reuse, turn it into something which is useful. Just a tax which seems to be more to collect revenue and not to get to the root of the problem is not particularly helpful.
Thank you very much, Awula Sewa. Let me pick your thoughts, Desmond. Final thoughts?
Yes, I think that what she's saying is true. We probably do. I don't know if we actually have a waste management budget for the municipalities, because if we decentralize this education and enforcement to the municipalities, they are very close in terms of proximity to the communities that are having these behavior problems. Gaio alone, as an NGO, is being able to transform a lot of communities. The whole stretch of Chado, parts of Labadi, parts of Cantonment and Wireless, they are making phone calls on a daily basis because whether it is organic waste, whether it is plastic, you are dropping it. And there are buyback centers near each of them before the material recovery facility, where we then transport it to for the recycling.
Right.
Now, if such communities can change, why can't we change everybody? With enforcement, there should be possibility to have that.
Thank you so much, Desmond. I'll come to you, Venan Sondo, for the final word, and then we're gone.
So I think we need to recognize that it's not a challenge that is faced only by Ghana. It is something that is faced across Africa. There's the other sort of plastics that we don't really talk about is the fish nets that we deal with. This T-shirt is from a campaign that we did recently. ALDFG is for abandoned, lost, or otherwise discarded fishing gear. And 600,000 tons of these actually wash into the oceans every day from fishing communities and their gears. That is also a huge problem. I think taxing is not the main solution. It's always a combination of solutions. First of all, if you're taxing, then make sure the tax is effective, because some are paying and some are not paying. Make sure that you widen that bracket and make sure that those who are not paying can actually really start paying, especially those who are operating in kind of corners that are not known and producing plastics. And education, I know there's a National Civic Society for Education, which is actually doing a lot locally. I think we have to kind of come to a situation where we work with them to sort of broaden. I think that in every district in the country, and they are very, very useful tool that can be used for education about plastics. I believe that is part of what MPAP is looking at, how they can empower this very important authority in the country to disseminate the whole idea about sustainable choices, making sure that people have the right choices, can choose the right choices, and making sure that those taxes, if they can actually, as Desmond says, be put in the right places to encourage research into alternative solutions, as well as promote solutions that go a long way to addressing the problem.
Thank you so much for joining the conversation, lady and gentlemen. Awula Sewa is coordinator of the Eco-Conscious Citizens. She joined the conversation. We also had Desmond Alugnoa, Director for Zero Waste Green Africa Youth Organization, and Venan Sondo, Project Director for Net Cycle. All of them joined us. But listen, we are all involved. No one is left out. If you do what's right, and I do what's right, together we can build Ghana with policy and with our actions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Stay with us. Still to come, we'll be talking about myriad other issues, including the Joy News Impact Makers Awards. Who are those heroes and heroines making an impact, solid impact on our society? Some of them you never get to see. You never get to know them because no one brings them to the fore. We are doing that. We're bringing those heroes and heroines and celebrated we're bringing them to the fore and rewarding them. That's what is going to happen tomorrow at the Accra International Conference Center from around 7 p.m. We'll be telling you more about the Joy News Impact Makers Awards when we return after the break.
Good morning and welcome back on the AM show. And let's continue the conversation on waste management. If you live in Accra, you know that every year around this time, residents look forward to Homowo Festival. And then there's that ban that has just been lifted on noise making. And this morning, we're going to talk about a collaboration in the efforts of cleaning up Accra. His Royal Majesty Nite Kochu II is collaborating with all the ministries involved with sanitation or the environment to organize a cleanup exercise ahead of the Homowo Festival. And in the studio with me this morning is a rep from Zoom Lion, who are also part of this collaboration, and the head of comms and corporate at Zoom Lion, Madam Emma Ajuapia Osei. Welcome to the studio. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm great. How about you?
I'm well.
So we are talking about sanitation, we're talking about waste management, we're talking about environment. Who are these entities that the Gamanche is collaborating with, first of all, to clean up Accra ahead of this Homowo Festival?
Great. We have the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation. We have the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. We have the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, as well as the Ministry of Interior and the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, coming together in collaboration with the Gamanche to clean up Accra ahead of the Homowo. So we of Zoom Lion come in as the contractors who will be of help to support them with logistics.
So what's the intention behind this cleanup exercise?
Very well. You know, whenever there is a festival, there is a period of cleansing before the festive activities take off. And NIGA has stated at the launch of this cleanup exercise, which happened on the 21st of June, that he has noticed that Accra is no longer as it used to be when some of us were young. So he wants that state, that clean state, to come back. So he wants Accra to be clean before the Homowo starts. And this is going to happen throughout Gamashi, all the clans there. It's happening on clan basis.
What are the areas?
Gamashi, how do I describe that? From Mokola, post office area. I mean, when I say Gamashi, the guys know.
No, but for the sake of those who don't understand.
Asene, Otublohum, they have the various clans, about 12 or so of them. But the best way I can describe it is from Mokola towards the beach area, towards the second Kolebu area.
Are those the only areas you're cleaning, or you're cleaning the entire Accra?
The entire Greater Accra, but this is happening within the jurisdiction of His Royal Majesty for the 2nd and the 3rd. But what I say is that for the 2nd and the 3rd, if you are within Greater Accra, in fact, all the chiefs in Greater Accra know about this. So if you are within Greater Accra and you also want to give support to this and clean your area, that is fine. So that by the time the train gets to your clan, the filth there might have reduced. But on the 2nd and on the 3rd, we are doing massive cleanup within the Accra vicinity to make sure that we rid off filth from the place before the celebrations start.
So is it just Zoom Lion with all these other ministries, or you're inviting individuals to join you in this cleanup campaign?
I am here because I want everybody to know.
Okay, so
tell us
about that.
You see, if I visit your home and you are doing a cleanup, you're fixing the place, I cannot sit and watch you. So we, the strangers from other towns who have come to live in Accra, we are like visitors to the people of Accra, and they are going to clean. So we join them. So on the 2nd and on the 3rd, the regional minister said no shop should open.
Okay.
So once you're not opening your shop, what are you doing?
You're cleaning.
Don't stay at home and wait till it's 11 and you come and open your shop.
So the shops are not to be open until 11
Until the cleanup is over. And I know cleanups will be over before 12, definitely.
Okay.
So that will be it. So join us and help us clean.
Okay.
And by this, I'm calling on corporate bodies also to support NIGA, whether you are in Accra or anywhere, and carry the concept with you to wherever you are also. You can support in cash or in kind because cleanups are not cheap.
What do you mean by cleanups are not cheap?
No, it comes with a certain energy. The people who follow you to do the work may want to wash their hands after the cleaning.
Give them some water to drink.
Right. A few consumables that go with the cleaning.
Yes.
If you support NIGA with it, that would not be bad.
All right.
But from where I sit, I am pushing for people to join in the cleanup. Okay. Do not sit in your shop and close it and wait for us to get done. It is not fair. You will not feel comfortable.
Yes. Don't sit and wait. Cleanliness, they say, is next to godliness. So how do we contact you? I'm sure some people might be interested, but they want to get more information from you. Is there a number to call? Is there a website to visit? How do they reach you?
Okay, if you want to
participate, to
get information on this, you can call 050-128-1702. If I take it again, 050-128-1702. And you can get more information on this. But the whole thing is about cleanup happening within the vicinity of Accra, which is commissioned by NIGA, His Royal Majesty. And we are expecting everybody to come on board.
From 2nd and 3rd?
On the 2nd and 3rd of July.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Adjoa Pia Osei, who's head of comms and corporate at Zoom Lion, for bringing us this important information.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right, so don't sit in your homes and wait for the train to get to you. Join the train and let's clean up Accra ahead of Homowo Festival. There's still more coming your way on the AM show. We'll be right back. We're back on air. And as part of our efforts here at Joy News, the AM show specifically, to educate the public on all important issues, especially creating awareness on health issues, this morning we're bringing you a conversation on vitiligo. What is it? What do people who live with this skin condition go through? All that conversation coming up right now. And I have with me in the studio Enam Honya Haykins, the director for Vitiligo Support and Awareness Foundation, and Jonathan Onyame, who is a person living with a skin condition. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio.
Thank you
so
much.
I'll start with you, Enam. Yes. Looking very beautiful.
Thank you.
Could you briefly just introduce yourself and tell me a bit about your background?
Okay, thank you so much for having us this morning to throw more light on what the skin condition is all about. Thanks for your outfit for this great initiative. We are more than grateful. So vitiligo is a skin condition where there is a destruction of the melanocyte of the skin, resulting into the white patches. When we said the melanin or the melanocyte, it's basically the pigment cells that gives us our skin color, eye color, hair color. So once this melanin cells has been destroyed, the white patch appears, or the white skin, as you are saying, appears. It is not contagious, and it affects all races and both sexes equally. We are stressing on the point that it is not contagious.
It's not contagious. And just for context, we have some photos that we'll be showing you along the, as the conversation progresses. You weren't born like this?
No, I wasn't born like this.
And you were, darker like me. Dark. It means that the pigment in your skin has gradually been removed, and these are the white patches that have taken over. Yes. Let me come to you, Jonathan. How did you feel when you first noticed the patches or you were diagnosed with vitiligo?
Well, thanks to my wife, Helena, she saw it first and just gave me a hint that, oh, I have some small color change around my cheek. And I personally didn't know, but with time, I saw it started spreading up. Then I have to go to see the doctor to absorb it, and then that's how come that I got to know it.
How long have you been living with vitiligo?
It's like 6-7 years. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you face living with this skin condition?
Well, sometimes when you meet people, mostly those that they knew me before I haven't, like they are mostly shocked about it. They are, wow, like they think that maybe it's a bent or maybe the work that I'm doing, those stuff. So sometimes they are shocked about seeing me in this mood, and sometimes so some kids too, when they see you, they keep on staring at you as if they seen some different human being
different
altogether. Yeah.
And you've been championing the cause for supporting people living with this skin condition. What are some of the misconceptions that you've encountered along the way? As a person also living with vitiligo, but so far you, the white patches have taken over completely, and so you no longer see the spots.
Exactly. So I want to say that...
We'll be showing you the pictures of Enam before now, and then you can see the difference.
Yes, that was me, yes. So I just want to say that the white skin that you're seeing is actually the vitiligo. So we have
So that's you on the screen right now?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
Yes, that was me. So we have a lot of myths surrounding the skin condition. Some actually attributed to sorcery, some actually attributed to witchcraft, and then there are many other things that have to do with spiritualism and other things. So we just want to say that the skin condition is not contagious. In as much as it deals with the physical outlook of the individual, it is not contagious. You cannot contract the skin condition just by touching the person or getting involved with the person.
So how does this even come about? Is it a matter of genes?
Yes, so the main cause for vitiligo is unknown. Like I said, it's just the destruction of the melanin cells. Right. So the main cause as to why the melanin cells are being destroyed, hence the coming up of the white skin, is unknown. However, though, there are some precipitating factors like the genetic factor that you rightly mentioned, and then also the autoimmune disorder. So autoimmune disorder is a situation where one's immune system is being compromised that affects the production of the melanin. So the immune system, the body cells actually looks at the melanin cells as a foreign body, hence attacking it. Okay. Yes, so once your immune system is being compromised, can actually have vitiligo. Another thing is the emotional stress. We have emotional stress and oxidative stress as a factor precipitating to vitiligo. We also have exposure to the sun. So for someone who consistently exposes him or herself to the sun can actually have vitiligo. And then exposure to certain industrial chemicals like chlorine. One thing as well is some neural and viral conditions, yes, can also be a precipitating factor. We equally have diabetes type 1. Yes, diabetes type 1 also being a precipitating factor.
Does it physically hurt? How does it physically feel? Does it, how does it feel?
So vitiligo is not painful. Okay. It's just the appearance of white patch. It's not like the skin is scaly or rough. No, it's as smooth as your skin.
Yeah, it's just like your, may I?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like skin.
Exactly.
And it's not catching. You can't touch this.
Exactly. Okay. It is not painful. It is not scaly or rough.
Right.
It's just a normal skin. Just that in this particular skin, the melanin cells have been destroyed, hence the appearance of the white patch
What can you do? How do you manage this?
Okay, so the cure for vitiligo, there is no cure for vitiligo, actually. Okay. There is no cure for vitiligo. But then we have a lot of treatment therapies that individuals can opt for. We have the light therapy, we have the supplementary therapy, we have depigmentation. We have a lot of them that the individual can also go in for. What works in for person A might not work in for person B, actually. So it takes a gradual process for someone who wants to regain his or her pigment back to undergo these treatment options and then have time and patience for that. Michael Jackson also have...
I was just going to get there because every time I hear vitiligo, I hear Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
When you watch his documentaries, this is why he opted to bleach his skin once and for all.
Exactly. So surgery is also one aspect of the treatment options for vitiligo.
Okay.
Yes.
So we need to wrap up. But would you say that your campaign, creating public awareness has reached some sort of significant level? Is the public starting to understand what vitiligo is? And is the discrimination reducing, would you say?
Okay, I must say that so far so good, because when we started this initiative somewhere in 2011, and I know a lot of people have begun it before us, but then so far so good. It's going deep, and then it's reaching a lot of people. Okay. But then again, we are looking forward to more partnership and collaborations with people. And thanks to your platform again, I'm so much grateful for joining us, for supporting this initiative, to help us project the awareness, to eradicate the stigma. You know, one thing about vitiligo is, in as much as it's dealing with the physical outlook of the person, it affects the person's psychological status, hence actually leading the person to do a lot of things with his or her life, especially committing suicide and all that. We have a lot of issues in that regard. Wow. So with that, we are going somewhere, I must say. It is reaching out. We want to actually reach out to the rare communities, the deprived communities that are in Ghana, that they actually attribute the skin condition to certain myths.
Sorcery and all
exactly.
That. And how do we reach you? Hold on for me. You give me your final words, and then when you're wrapping up, you can tell us how to reach you. Jonathan, what will be your final words to everyone watching you this morning? Well,
I just want to tell Ghanaians that vitiligo is not something that when, as you hold, you touch the person, you are going to get infected or whatsoever. It's just that the color scheme that have changed, and so we should be accepted anywhere we go.
To be accepted anywhere they go. That's so touching. Right. And bring us home.
So with Vitiligo Support and Awareness Foundation Ghana, we are so much delightful to create the sense of belongingness for individuals that have the condition. So you can reach us on Facebook at Vitiligo Ghana, Instagram at Vitiligo Ghana, and on X is at Vitiligo Support and Awareness Ghana. You can also write us. You can also write to us at vitiligoghana@gmail.com. You can also, if you want to partner with us in the creative industry or whatsoever, we are open to that. We want to project the awareness into the creative aspect of life and also enhance the psychological status of the individual and also build their self-confidence as well as individuals. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So much. And
it was my absolute pleasure to learn from you.
Thank you.
Vitiligo Ghana across all social media platforms, all digital platforms, to get in touch with Enam and her team for whatever collaboration that you will need to do. Enam Honya Haykins is Director for Vitiligo Support and Awareness Foundation. And Jonathan Onyame is a person living with vitiligo, sharing his story to create more awareness on this skin condition. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
So there's still more. Yes, thank you. So there's still more coming your way on the AM show. We'll be right back. And it's all winding down tomorrow. And the multimedia group is celebrating our heroes, touching lives in their various communities under the Joy Impact Makers Awards. 10 nominees, 10 heroes will be awarded tomorrow. Who takes the ultimate crown? What's in the bag tomorrow? We have all details coming up in this conversation. In the studio with me is the project lead for the Joy Impact Makers Awards, MFA Ntiamo. And we would also be joined by some of these giants who speak to us on how they feel ahead of tomorrow in the build-up for the big event tomorrow. But let me quickly run you through these 10 heroes who will be rewarded tomorrow. First on my list is Miss Eunice Esiedua Ejepong. She's a young teacher who was initially posted to a non-existent school in the Eastern region. But despite all hopes of being, not being close to her family, she took up the charge and done amazing work in that community. And with the support of the community, she's established a school, initially starting with just 7 pupils in a church building, which was generously provided by a local pastor. And now this school has about 125 pupils enrolled and the boast of 9 trained teachers. That is fantastic work that she's doing there. Second, we have Dr. Kwame Sakwa Eju, a prominent figure in the sustainable beekeeping industry, dedicating to improving rural livelihoods across Ghana and beyond. What does he do? He's collaborated with the Adventist Development Relief Agency to support 700 cashew and orange farmers in the Eastern region, empowered over 100 women through community support bee projects in Ghana, facilitated 100 farmer beekeeping projects, and so on and so forth. He's also doing amazing in his community. And then we have Gloria Lade at Dakurugu. We spoke to her, I think, on Wednesday about, you know, how it feels to be a celebrity teacher and the special work that she's doing in the northern region. During her time, she has witnessed many students missing school because of lack of necessary educational materials, and she has collaborated with so many people for 13 years to provide school books, health insurance, among many other things for the students in that region. And then we have Reverend Senior Jacinta Ekuya Kwachu Osei, and she commenced her academic journey with basic education at Akim Apradi Roman Catholic School, and she's committed to education and humanitarianism and has garnered numerous accolades, including prestigious Global Education Supplies and Solution Awards in Dubai. And I must add that she's a Reverend sister doing amazing work in her community. Andrew Ejenim Boateng is next, and he is an accomplished professional with a solid foundation in education and community building. His vision transcends individual projects, and he strives to narrow the digital gap between rural and urban areas by empowering communities to drive their development. And he underscores the importance of self-help initiatives and communal collaboration to elevate pressure on the central government and foster sustainable growth. In summary, Andre Jenim Boateng is passionately committed to reshaping the discourse surrounding community development. And then we have Rhoda Koda Wedam, a dedicated social entrepreneur and founder of Songba Empowerment Center. We spoke to her as well, championing access to menstrual hygiene products in rural areas. And she's done fantastic work, distributed over 15,000 reusable sanitary pads, and authored a comprehensive guide titled No More Suffering in Silence, a book that helps parents who are uncomfortable or students who have no one to talk to about menstrual hygiene or the nitty-gritties in there. And then Samuel Nana Bekai Jirakta, a young agricultural engineer who graduated from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He's the founder and CEO of Haven of Love Children's Foundation, a non-profit organization dedicated to enhancing community health, sanitation, climate resilience, socioeconomic empowerment of young females in rural areas. And through his foundation, he's empowered over 100 communities comprising about 20,000 children and parents, and they've received various essential health services delivered to their doorstep. Nicholas Kofi is a banker and auditor by profession and the founder of My Help, Your Help Foundation. And he views it as a ministry bestowed upon him by divine calling. And the foundation extends to reach over 10,000 lives nationwide. Its initiatives include free health screening in communities, feeding programs for street children in Accra, donations to orphanages and widows, as well as community-based projects such as borehole construction and classroom block renovation. Next on my list, we have Joel Gia Afi, a 2019 Mandela Washington Fellow, serves as a medical superintendent of Asonafo South District Hospital in Kukuom, Ghana, overseeing both administrative and clinical operations. With a team of 250 health professionals, he provides essential medical and surgical services. He also co-founded the Ebusia Community Medical Center, focusing on delivering health care to underprivileged communities through mobile health and telemedicine. And he's passionate about community development, and his efforts have been recognized through grants and awards, driving his commitment to empowering women across the country. Last on my list this morning is Joseph Maujom. Joseph Maujom is a hydrogeologist, a wash specialist and sustainability professional who's dedicated himself to enhancing access to safe water and promoting self-sufficiency in underserved communities, with a particular focus on the Upper Manya Krobo district. And through his initiative, he has positively impacted the lives of over 2,000 individuals. There you have it, our 10 heroes who will be awarded tomorrow. But MFA will tell us all about it right now. MFA, it's good to see you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
We had this conversation about 2 months ago. At the time, nominations were just
a little over a month ago.
So how has the journey been?
Always exciting and demanding put together, but it's been good so far.
Okay. And what should we expect tomorrow?
Tomorrow we are hosting the nominees, their family members, their loved ones, well-wishers at a dinner where they will be recognized and celebrated. When I say recognized and celebrated, we are showcasing them to the whole of Ghana and the world over. We are telling the world exactly what they do and the extent to which the activities have changed lives and have caused great change in their community. When you were reading their profiles, one thing that struck me was the confidence for them to be able to elect themselves to cause a change. You know, I don't know what you do after work when you leave this studio. What do you do in your community?
Yeah,
I'm sure you have noticed. I'm sure you have noticed a need, but the discipline to step out there, to want to be the one leading the cause.
And keep doing it.
Exactly, leading the cause and bringing about that change for me is motivating, is encouraging.
Okay.
Impact makers, the Joy News Impact Makers, among other things, is to promote self-help initiatives. You and I know how big, numerous, a lot our problems and challenges and needs are as a country.
Yes.
Often the first port of call is government.
Yes.
Point is, when is government coming? So while you and I are sitting here thinking or waiting for government to come, these individuals have already set out and are getting things done in their community.
So on that
and
note,
you'll agree with me that they need to be applauded.
And that's what we are doing tomorrow. On that note, let me bring in Dr. Kwame Sakwa-Edu, a prominent figure in the sustainable beekeeping industry, and he's one of our awardees tomorrow. Doc, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You are a hero of change, Joy News Impact Maker, and you will be awarded tomorrow. How does it feel?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is wonderful. I feel very elated. It signifies the fact that when you work in your corner, there are people watching you and admiring you. So we thank the multimedia group joining for in this book and look forward a wonderful day tomorrow. Yes.
So 2 quick questions and then I'll let you go. First, what made you start on this journey to impact or cause some positive impact in your community? And what do you hope to achieve with this recognition after tomorrow?
Very well. Impacting people's life is something which is divine. It's good. I ask myself, what are we here on earth for? But not to help each other live a good life. So I go into the rural areas and see a lot of deprivation and so on. So these touch my heart to intervene and help. So the good thing is I keep in my wisdom. So these are able to impact people's life and also in the environment. They pollinate plants, they pollinate the farmers, or people can have it be good living. And
Doc, you're breaking up a bit, so maybe we'll try and reconnect while I bring in Reverend Sister Jacinta Ekuakwachiwa, and she's also been doing fantastic. Doc, we'll just try and reconnect you because you were breaking up. So while we do that, I'll get on the phone with Reverend Sister Jacinta, and then I'll circle back to you. Sister Jacinta, if you can hear me, good morning to you.
Good morning, my sister.
So you've been doing some marvelous work. I mean, distributing computers, textbooks, among others, committed to education. And tomorrow you will be awarded for this hard work that you've been doing. Are you excited about it?
Oh, sure. I'm so excited.
So what made you start doing this wonderful work by generously donating these items to the people in your community? And what do you hope to achieve with this award, and the attention that it will bring you after tomorrow?
Thank you, my sister. Good morning to your cherished viewers. And thanks for having me. In fact, I've done this for the past 23 years. And what motivates me to embark on educational and humanitarian activities emanates from the passion that I have to make the less privileged happy in the society. Considering my background, it took the intervention of other benevolent people for me to pursue secondary and post-secondary education when my mom, who was the breadwinner of the family, became paralyzed for 13 years. So for me, my joy is making people happy. And when they are happy, my joy becomes complete. So with this award, it will urge me on to continue to offer my best. It's something I've been doing, as I rightly said. I've done it for the past 23 years, and I will continue to impact many lives. With the little resources available.
Yeah, I asked this question to the 2 or 3 other people that we spoke to in the course of the week, and I'm going to ask you too. Do you have your eye on the overall? I mean, you will be awarded for the work that you're doing, but then there's also an overall winner who will emerge tomorrow, the overall impact maker. Are you eyeing that award as well?
Thank you, my sister. As a matter of fact, all the finalists have really worked hard with our various areas. In fact, reading through the profile of other colleagues, I realized we have all said our quota towards community and national development. Therefore, whoever emerges as an outstanding impact maker, we will all join hands to give thanks to God.
All right. Thank you so much, Reverend Sister Jacinta, and we hope to see you tomorrow.
Yes, please. I will surely be there.
All right. So let me go back to Dr. Kwame Sakwa. Doc, you were telling us what you hope to achieve, I mean, after this recognition that you're getting tomorrow.
Yes. Like I was saying, I like to impact on people's lives. So after tomorrow, this will spur me to do more in the rural communities that I work with. I have 3 ladies that we have trained as professional women trainers, and I'm going to look forward to sourcing some funding so they can reach out to disadvantaged women in the rural community. I'm talking about widows, young widows in the north. I'm talking about single mothers, and so these young ladies will impact them and train them to produce honey and change their lives. So this is what I'm looking for. I believe the exposure will link me to funding sources which will help support these women in the rural community, like in Donkokrum, where the living situation there is very difficult. Accessing the place is difficult. And so with bees which are abundant in the area, it's a big resource for them to change their life. So I look forward to tomorrow, a wonderful day for all of us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Sakwa, one of our awardees for tomorrow. And let me come back to the studio to MFA. These are some of your awardees for tomorrow. You've done great work, I must say.
Thank you.
And so where are we going tomorrow? What time? And what's the wow factor?
We'll be at the Accra International Conference Center tomorrow at 7 p.m. It will be live on radio, TV. The event itself is strictly by invitation. But of course, we need your support, and you can support us by watching on TV, listening on radio, sharing your comments on social media. And also, we are calling on Corporate Ghana, because certainly there are nominees who are into areas that also are related to what you do as a professional, as a company. And so you would want to identify with them, perhaps support them in what they do, to be able to make more impact. We are reaching out to such companies, such individuals, philanthropists across Ghana. What matters, the beautiful thing about the Impact Makers Award is that you don't need to be a professional. You don't need to be, excuse me, like you and I, journalists. You don't need to be a politician. You don't need to be a business tycoon.
Just ordinary people doing extraordinary.
And also these people, we are having to celebrate them because they are beneficiaries. The beneficiaries of their projects are the ones attesting to the impact of their project. So it is not me who is saying Dr. Sakwa has done something good, but it is the people's life that they have changed. So tomorrow, 7 p.m. at the Accra International Conference Center, we are celebrating them and telling Ghana that we should learn to encourage such people. We should also learn from them and do more. If we do that, the everyday complaint about the things we don't like in our communities will reduce. And how would it feel to feel good in the community you live in? And so essentially that is it. After the event, I mean, the nominees are going to be enjoying a whole 1-year publicity on radio, TV. Okay. As far as they are engaged, they continue doing what they are going to be doing. We are always going to be with them to give them publicity, to promote them, and keep showcasing the activities to Ghana and the world over so that they will get the necessary support. Beyond that, we'll be giving them plaques. They will also be everyone will be receiving a cash prize.
Oh,
yes.
How much?
Everyone will be receiving a cash prize of 5,000 Ghana cedis. The winner will take home 10,000 Ghana cedis cash, you know. And I mean, you can imagine what the sponsors are also bringing on board. And I also want to use this opportunity to thank the Magdan Foundation for their support for this Impact Awards. We also want to thank First National Bank, DBS Industries, and then Gold Key Properties. We appreciate the support, and we are hoping that more of such companies will come on board. It's all in a spirit of making Ghana a better place for us to all live.
You left out the little scoop I asked. So what's the X factor tomorrow? What's the wow factor? What surprises do you have up your sleeve for tomorrow?
Come and see me in my awards gown.
Emma Fantiamo is the project lead for the Joy Impact Makers Awards, and she's done beautiful with this year's award. So we'll be looking forward to the amazing things coming up tomorrow. And she said the only way you can support is to tune in. It's as simple as that.
Yes, yes. And support. It's never too late. It's never too late to reach out to any of the nominees, even here at Multimedia, to want to be part of the celebration. Yeah. We don't want to be the only organization celebrating them. We want the whole of Ghana to celebrate them. So reach out.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming to shed more light on this for us. Okay, that's this belt of the conversation. In just a jiffy, we'll come back to wrap up. Stay with us. All right, folks, so that's our show for today and the week. But before we go, a gentle reminder that tomorrow at the Accra International Conference Center, the Joy Impact Makers Awards is coming your way. And all you need to do is tune in on radio and TV. We will be telling you amazing stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things in their communities. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and of course I did this with Benjamin Akakwo. We are back on your screen on Monday, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Stick with us. But Joy News Desk is up next.